Hello everyone. Welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. It's great to be back. Thank you all for coming along today, and what fun we're going to have. We are going to be flying in the iniBuilds A350-900 for our flight today from, and I'm just typing into the overlay because I've just seen I have not done that, so I do apologise. We're flying from Frankfurt down to Madrid, a classic European route, very standard on this channel. What I have realised as well is that I've missed a few things when I set this up, so let me just change that around. Just give me 1 second to do that. But I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you very much for coming along and joining us for the flight today. It's been a while. It's been too long since we managed to get a flight in, and I haven't flown an Airbus in a long time, and the channel is still called 320 Sim Pilot channel, so at some point we'll have to go back in the 320, but for now we're going to have to make do with the A350. I've seen this livery recently in real life. I was super impressed with it, this Lufthansa 100-year celebration livery, and I could not resist getting it into the sim. I saw this on the Ini Manager, and yeah, it's a really stunning livery for the 100 years. They've done a really nice job of it. I've seen it on their 747-8 as well. I've seen that flying around, and it's yeah, it's seriously cool. What a cool idea. So let me just see if I can change the overlay. It used to be really easy, and as ever you're going to see a whole list of aircraft here. Hold on, let me see if I have one. I bet I never had to write A350 because it was already there. No. Oh dear, we might have to put up with the wrong overlay, I'm afraid. Where on earth is it hidden? There we go. We got it. That's a bit of luck. Right. So there we go. That's the plan for today. The aircraft is here in Frankfurt, a very big, busy airport. We're on the north side of the airfield, and we are going to shortly taxi it out and take off. There's no ATC here at the moment, I believe, but it's a classic Sunday afternoon stream for a bit of our own amusement. Let me just have a look. Yeah, there's still no air traffic here at all. So we're going to be in the Lufthansa 117. We're going to take off and head over. Probably take off from runway 18, so nice taxi out. This is Aerosoft scenery, so we've got quite good scenery here for Frankfurt. Unusually for my channel, but I'm a little bit tired. I can't stand the default Microsoft Flight Simulator sceneries in 2020 or 2024, so yeah, I thought we needed something like this. Anyway, let's say hello to people in the chat. We are now, for the first time in a few years, I think, streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, as it's, I believe, now allowed. But there we go. So to those of you over on Twitch, I'll say a quick hello. So JLav and Peter 4K in, thanks very much for coming along. Peter's going to watch it when he gets home, but yeah, thank you for joining us over there, and of course on YouTube. Thank you very much. Mark Burgess, good to see you. Peter, oh, I was over on Twitch, sorry, yeah, I got the chats combined, it's good. Lloyd, Crashhead, hope you're doing very well, thanks for joining us. Richard, thanks for coming along and moderating and looking after us, of course. It's great to have you here again. And yeah, we've got Den, we've got Gabe Aviation, we've got Dream Elephant, XKev. So I will be taking questions and so on as we go, of course, but for now we are just going to get the airplane up and running as it stands. So thank you very much, Swift4G, for the 3 SGD. I think that's Singaporean dollars. Have I got that right? Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Swift4 says, hi, thanks for flying the A350. You're very welcome. And thanks for coming along, and thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Just run that alert. Let me just make sure the alerts. Yeah, the alerts are working. Good news. Okay. So we're in a good place. It's been a while since I've streamed. So as ever, I have far too long gaps in between them. We did get a few videos out. We'll talk about some of the new Flight Simulator land changes in those videos, and what some new exciting add-ons have been put in the works, as we can see. But let's get the A350 going. We've never actually streamed this on the channel. Please, of course, let me know about the audio. I know it's a constant issue. I find it very hard to judge what I'm seeing versus how the audio comes out. So yeah, so this is the iniBuilds A350. This is the 900, the shorter original version. We only have 2 or 4 wheels on each main truck, as it were. Swiftwell says, yes, it's Singaporean. Sorry, I'm kind of right. No, you're very kind. You're very generous to support the channel. I really appreciate it. And I was just making sure I got the currency right from the SGD, but I did get it right, so that's good. So Singaporean dollars, yeah, thank you very much. Two sausage, hello to you, thanks for coming along. Yeah, so we'll do a little bit of a walk around as we haven't seen this, and like I say, this came out, it's been out, you know, whatever, a year, but we didn't stream it at the time. It was a little bit unstable when it came out. It had a bit of a rough start, the A350 from iniBuilds, in my opinion anyway. I actually quite liked it when I was trying it out, but I was trying out a preview version, and I expect some bugs and glitches, but it suffered from quite big WASM crashes that meant it was quite hard actually to get through a full flight. So that of course caused some consternation. It also had a handling thing. People didn't like the way it landed. However, I had no trouble with the way it landed because I've seen A350s land, and yeah, they are quite something. So it's quite fun to look around and just compare it to our classic A320 look. Nice LED lights. It does have a lot of options, the iniBuilds. You've got a lot of different ways you can set it up, so you can choose what sort of winglets you want what sort of lights it has, whether it has the new or old screens, because as ever with Airbus, they updated this thing so much already. I mean, it's a brand new airliner and they've got all different versions and new equipment coming, whereas the newest Boeing 787s barely have anything changed over the original ones. It's quite funny, but like I say, and I will continue to say, the 787 is probably the most advanced airliner out there. It's so different to this, but this has still got lots of great features. But yeah, classic long-haul aircraft. Here's those wheels. I always think they look a little bit small. They're quite far apart on the A350, which I find unusual. Why would they be so far apart? Surely they have to find more space to stow them, but there we go. That's what we get. Trent XWB engines. So these are Rolls-Royce, the only option on the 350. So Rolls-Royce is very big on this. Beautifully modelled, really beautifully modelled. That's the little EPR sensor up there. Nice and big, although not as big as what I currently fly. For those of you who don't know, I currently fly the Boeing 777. So the 777-300 engine is bigger than this even, which is quite crazy really. It's, yeah, the 777-300, such a monster. This is a paid add-on there, but you can buy this from iniBuilds, and like I say, it's been out a while now, so it's had time to mature and stabilize, and yeah, as you can see, they've absolutely nailed the texturing under these wings. This is unusually good actually. A lot of aircraft for some reason lose a lot of detail, especially on the underside of the wing, and I know that sounds a bit silly, who looks at the underside of the wings, but when you're doing a walk around, this is something that as pilots we always see, because we always walk under the wings. Oh, don't do that. And that, by the way, is something that you have to be very careful of in the real world, is walking into ground equipment or getting run over whilst doing a walk around. I maintain it's the most dangerous part of my job by a long shot, is me walking around an aircraft. You have high-vis on, you're getting blasted with loud noises, you've got ground crew shouting across at each other, and if you're looking up at the airplane, you could miss anything. So what you're supposed to do really is stop, look up at the airplane, inspect it, carry on, stop, look up, you know. But you know, that's the idea, to stop yourself getting run over, and you don't want to slip over on painted lines, things like that. I'm sorry about that noise. Let me just see what's causing that. I have a funny feeling it's coming from Twitch, which I've not been able to mute. So let me just see if I can silence my. Oh, it's always more difficult than you imagine, isn't it? Okay, I'll figure out how to silence Twitch at some point, just so it all comes through the same notification. Just keep hearing that noise. I do apologise. But there we go. Yeah. So as we look around. Size source says 777 is basically the all-time best plane, and I can agree with that. I think 777 is an amazing airplane. I absolutely love it, and it lands nicely. It's got big landing gear, lots of weight, lots of extra room, lots of power. But yeah, but I've never thrown a 350, so there we go. Right, here, all modelled nicely, typical place for it. I don't think the 350 does have a taxi camera. That's weird. That's a sink drain, hence it's hot so it doesn't freeze up, and then that looks like an outflow valve. Strange place to put it, but I suppose why not? It's not like the sink drain's going to run forwards, is it? No, it's going to run back. Well, I suppose it's an outflow valve. It's not going to go in through there. And then around the tail. I always think the A350 tails look a little bit small. That's the one thing I have about the A350. They must have done a good job on the handling, and they realised they didn't need a massive great tail on it. So especially the 350-1000, it looks really small. Thanks so much, Paul Humphreys, for the £5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Paul says, first time catching you live. Loved your 777 tutorials. Really appreciate it. Very kind. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And let me just make sure you get a little little reaction. There we go. Yeah, thank you, Paul. Loved your 777 tutorials. I'm glad you enjoyed them. It's nice to hear people know me from the 777 now, because I was, Airbus for so long, and I've actually been Boeing for coming up on 3 years now, which is hard to believe. Wow, there's a good taxi speed. One of the fun things doing a real walk around is that you get to see aircraft sort of up close like that as they taxi past you. But that's a pretty good speed, and you want to make sure your ear defenders are on. Look at that modelling on the rudder. You can see the spars inside. I like that. I like that a lot. Bulk cargo. That's where your dogs and cats and things tend to go. And any outsized equipment. Right. So this all looks very good to me. You'd obviously check the other wing. There's a 200, but yeah, that is a monster of an aeroplane. Let's see. Can I walk up these stairs? Nope. Definitely not. So let's cheat and jump in. Now this is a lovely cockpit though. This looks like a great place to spend your working day. So the airplane's been left sort of half powered up. It's in a half secure position. So what we can do is get it set up correctly. Now I don't know what that notification is coming from. I am so sorry for that. Let me have a... Oh, is it Streamlabs itself doing that? That might be what's going on. Hold on. I'm so sorry, everyone. I don't want you to have to keep listening to that. I will find it eventually. There's definitely a way. No, not that way. Right, we'll worry about that later. Good. So, Nicola says, just today I came back from a trip where I flew on both a 787 and an A350. I did prefer the Airbus over the Boeing, at least from a passenger perspective. So what would often be the case is the 350 cabin is much newer. So you have newer seats because, of course, 787 has been flying around since sort of the early 2010s. So that tends to be why it feels nicer. It's the same config, 333. It might be a little bit wider than a 787, the fuselage, but yeah, but it does tend to feel a little more modern just because of the airlines have put nicer seats into their A350s. So that is an understandable sentiment. I totally get it. What is going on with this Streamlabs notification? Streaming Essentials, chat box. Right, where's Streaming Essentials? I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just trying to get rid of that noise, which I know where it's coming from. Notifications. Oh, okay. Hopefully I fixed that. Right. Nothing's ever easy. So we're now going to get this airplane up and running. So we'll start off by, let's get the Adiros nav, let that align, and I've already, of course, like I say, the airplane is set up already with the sort of the basics done. So we had the batteries and external power on because it wouldn't be cold and dark typically. Thanks so much, BNKR, for the 100 super chat. Dude, that VPilot ping scared me. Is there any way to observe that sim without loading up the full sim? Observing that sim, if you want to listen to the audio, then no, you'll need to load up your sim realistically. I can't think of a way unless someone in chat has a better idea, but yeah, I think that's going to be the way forward to do it. But thank you very much for the support, really appreciate it. But I'm sorry, I think you have to do the sim, and I do apologise that the VPilot chat, and thank you for the message. I did get a very nice message in VPilot there, so appreciate it. Nope, that's not worked. My notification's still going, but yeah, it's really appreciated, and sorry I haven't got a better idea for you, but someone in chat might have one. Okay. I'm so sorry everyone. I'm just trying to make sure. I just don't want you to get annoyed by that noise, but it might be better that we just get going and then I work it out in the cruise. We'll get off the ground, otherwise we'll be here forever, as I'm sure you know we usually are. Anyway, so let's we've done, the aircraft was powered on, so the batteries were on, the external power was on, and obviously the gear was down, the wiper selectors were off. So now we're going to go into our Adiros, go into nav. I'm going to then have a look and make sure that we have, and it's down here on the 350, we look at the hydraulics, and they are both within the green, just about. A little low on the right system. You can actually go in here and start maintaining the aircraft if you really fancy it. If you go flight ops menu, maintenance, and you can see the yellow system is a little bit low. Oh, well, there you go. It's more than enough, it seems. They're in the right area, both in the green. It's gone down on the other side. There you go. I'll stop touching that. And we're going to check we have enough engine oil. So if we go to engine, click it properly. There we go. Engine. And it doesn't power. So are we going to do the old FADEC power on this thing? This is a Neo thing. It's the only reason I remember how to do that. That would turn this on, and oil, loads of oil, too much oil, overflowing oil. I don't really like it to be overflowing, but there we go. We have enough of that. That just powers up the engine sort of control computers. It's quite convoluted, and yeah, but I don't even know why it turns them completely off on the ground, but for some reason it does. Okay, so what we can do now is, once again, gears down, parking brake is set. And we need to make sure we have enough oxygen as well, which should be on the door page if it's still the same. It is 1800 for the captain, 1800 for the FO, which is plenty. And this uses generators for the passengers, unlike the 777, which has an actual bottle. So there we go, different system. So that's all we need. So that's enough for us. Good. Right, let's go into a flow. So overhead panel, crew supply. These are all in nav. Leave everything else alone. Nothing to touch here. I do like this cockpit. Let's put the, oh no, not the taxi lights, sorry. We've got logo on auto, nav lights are on. They did look pretty dim out there, and the strobe lights are in auto. Okay, that's fine. Seatbelts, we'll put them on for now. I know we have actually fueled. Emergency lights to arm, and there we go. Let's get the APU fired up. 1, 2, 3. Flap moving, I like that, flap moving. Open. Start the APU, and leave that running. We've got the external power for now. Turn on all the fuel pumps. Leave the hydraulics alone. Engine fire tests. Hello, Alsatian fan from Texas. Hello to you. I hope you're doing well over in Texas. I hope it's a bit, I don't know what temperature it is there, but it's been a bit ridiculously hot in the UK lately, and it's reminded us all of Texas, even though it's been only about 30 degrees Celsius. And then nothing to do on this panel. We're not doing manual engine start. Leave the air conditioning alone. Leave the surveillance alone. Great. Nice and straightforward. Very Airbusy. Let's set the QNH. Let's check I have actually got the right weather on. Live weather we do have, and we've got real time. Good. So what is the QNH today? Let's grab a weather for here. Right, it is. It's not really 1013, is it, QNH? It is indeed. The QNH is 1013. There we go. Can't argue with that. Makes my life nice and straightforward. Hello, Yes Papa. I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for coming along, and thanks for joining us on Twitch. Yes Papa's done a lot of work for the channel, so really appreciate it. Great to see you. And yeah, we're on Twitch for the first time in a long time. Oh, and I've missed Tom Nichols. Tom, thank you so much for the super chat. Tom says, can't make this one, sadly. We'll catch up where I can. Have a good flight. Tom, I'm so sorry I missed that. Thank you so much for your super chat. And thanks for supporting the channel, and we'll see you when you do get the chance. I'll just react to those two. So yeah, thank you again to BLNKN, and thank you again, Tom Nichols, for your support. Really, really appreciate it. We will have a good flight, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Right, and of course, this whole stream will be on YouTube available. Good, as we move down then, I'm going to have constraints, I'm going to have airports, traffic turned on, and I'll probably go weather for what we've got today, but the weather radar's off correctly, as it should be, and the co-pilot will probably have constraints, terrain, and airports. Okay, we don't need LS, we don't need VV. The flight directors are already on, and we're on the correct QNH. I'm going to set a suitable altitude in the window momentarily, but I'll just put it above us for now, just to give us a fighting chance. Good. And what we can also do now is just run through PFDs. Look good. These are in auto. Anti-skid is on. The gears down, and we leave the auto braking alone. As we move down here, we're going to set up our FMS shortly, and there's not much to do down here either. Flaps are up, speed brakes are in the retract position, and the parking brake is on. Good. Okay, let's go over to the EFB. This is always fun. It's quite a big EFB, this one, but I'm going to go to flight top status, and I've loaded in from SimBrief the Lufthansa 117 from Frankfurt to Madrid, so that's all good. And then I'm going to go to load sheet. For some reason, oh, there we go, SimBrief import. Good, this does work now. So that's going to load those in. It should fill up the seats. Andy H1302, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Andy says, just stopping by. It's cooking Sunday dinner. We'll try and rejoin the stream afterwards. I'm sure we'll still be here, Andy, but thanks so much. Hope to see you again later. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for stopping in and have a good Sunday dinner. Ruben says, hi, I like your videos. Actually really learned to fly the A320 and 777. I love the real world insights you give. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Let's do set 0 fuel weight. It should load in the seats now. And the fuel's a bit low, and I'm going to show you why. So, busy flights. And it's not unreasonable to put a 350-900 on a flight like this. Now, 17.8 tons is the required fuel, but I've seen that there were storms around the Frankfurt area. Could lead to delays taxiing out, as well as delays as we sort of have to taxi around it en route. So if I go to the flight plan, we had 15 minutes contingency fuel. So that could be used for that, dodging 1.4. So it's about, wow, it's a very fuel efficient airplane. So let's go with, let's add another, if I added another 15 minutes for dodging on the way out, weather in Madrid, it looks nice, and we've got the full arrival in. So I could double that. So I want to add 1,500 kilos. So 17.8, 18.8, 19.3. Let's have 19.3. It's laughable because the penalty for carrying extra fuel on a route like this would be very, very low. Let's do instant refuel. Because, of course, you're not flying for long, so it doesn't have much impact on your overall fuel burn. But you still don't carry fuel just for the fun of it. An Alsatian fan who's in Texas says, very hot, should get up to 91 Fahrenheit, 33 C, and humid. But, of course, we have air conditioning. Yeah, see, we were 33 with no air conditioning. That's what always makes the UK feel tough in that weather. Frederick says, what do you think of the flight model? I'm going to talk about that as we go, but I've already spoiled it a little bit. I actually think it feels... it doesn't surprise me how hard it is to land because, again, what I've seen from the real aircraft that I've seen landing and from what I've spoken to pilots who land it. However, it could still be perhaps a little bit tricky. We'll see. We'll see how it goes today. Right, let us carry on. So we've loaded the cargo. The passengers and the fuel. So what we can do now is come down to our FMS. Nav accuracy upgraded, it's all aligned, so that's good. Align IRS we've done, nav primary. Okay, so we're going to start off top left, and I'm going to go to init, and I'm going to do company flight plan request. And it's loading in. I'm going to set this side to checklist menu for now, so we have the checklist ready to go. Company flight plan received, waiting for insertion. You've got to go back to it to insert it. I don't know why. I quite like this design though. I think this is better than the 787 where they just did a screen version of a normal FMS. They actually created a new one, which I do appreciate. Cruising is not 270. We're going to go up to 410, but we're going to start at 27 with a bit of a step. Cost next 15. Wind, company wind request. Does seem to have some winds. So they should be in there, so that's all good. And then we're going to go to departure. I think we're going to depart from runway 18 because there's no controller here. Let me just check that. John Della says, interesting, this one's been on my list for a while, mostly been gorging on Boeings. Yeah, me too. Me too. We're going to buy the NEC 1 Lima. Oh, this is out of date. That's annoying. I tried everything to update this. I think that's going to be right. Let's just have a check. A Neki, and then the route. And if you want to fly along, the route is available. We're going from a Neki Yankee 163 to Herbie. So let's just have a look. How does that compare? Let's zoom out on here. Yeah, that's sensible. Insert. Thank you. Oh, now let's try and get this right. This is a weird system. Let's go to plan. Zoom in. And how do I cancel this menu that I just selected? Okay, and then we go down. Can I go down one at a time? If I just click on it. Nope, not going to show us. Can I just delete this continuity? That's going to be easy, isn't it? Yeah, delete. There we go. All right, that should work out. We will check that as we get going. And that's our departure. And we can put in the arrival. But we'll do that once we're going. So let's go back to flight plan. And back to init. There we go. Right, okay, so that's all in. We've got the routes, got the call sign, got the RS, got the departure, nav aids. Fuel and load, let's put in this now. So we have a 0 fuel rate 174.7. Oh, let's hope this works. No, that did not work. That did not work at all. Oh. Oh, that is the luckiest thing in the world. I remembered the key as control. I had to press left control to do keyboard input. Very lucky. Block fuel, we've got our 19.3. 19.3 tons. Good. And a 0 fuel rate CG 30.3. That's really lucky. I remember how to do that. 600 kilos taxi. Passengers. How many passengers does it think we've got? 133. 315 passengers. Good. Econ. 700 route reserve. 2.2 alternate. Final of 2.2. Seems sensible for 30 minutes. It does think we're arriving a little bit short with 4.1 tons. I'm a little surprised. Let me just check the flight plan. Is not way off. I definitely did a flight plan for an A350. Yeah, the fuel sounds sensible to me. 20 tons. The trip fuel 15.1 seems a bit high. It should be about 10 tons. So yeah, 2 hours 13. It shouldn't take us that long either. So I will. I wonder if the winds have not gone in correctly. That's the one thing I can think of that might trigger something like that. Fatboy says we would have reminded you if you got. Indeed, thank you very much. Mike says, having flown both Airbus and Boeing, which do you prefer? Do you fancy going on something like this after a while on 777? I would love to fly a 350 or a 380 in particular. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely wouldn't say no. Whether I'll get the chance is another matter. But yeah, I reckon this will be a very comfortable airplane to fly. I think judging by Airbus's fantastic A320 family, I can't imagine how comfy this aircraft is, because that's a short-haul airplane and it's very comfy. But as we talk about quite a lot on the channel, it's not really up to me very much. It's going to be down to where the airline needs you, and also the sort of flying you want to do, what routes does it do, and so on, things like that. And does your airline have all these airplanes as well? Nothing's certain. Nothing's ever certain. Let's go back to the flight plan, and let me just... Oh, why are the winds not... Is it missing the winds? Is that what's going on? It's got the winds, and it's not happy. I'm surprised. Surprised it thinks we're going to arrive so low on fuel. Does anyone have this problem with the A350? We shall see. I've added extra fuel, 19.3. Should be more than enough to do what we're doing. What we'll do then is let's add extra fuel so that we are in the safe zone. So let's just go to 25 tons. And if we land with it, then that's no problem, is it? Because we haven't even put the arrival in yet. So we're going to need more than it's thinking. Set fuel, 25 tons. In it. Fuel and load. Why doesn't it sense the fuel? Even the 777 just senses the fuel. I suppose it's so you can do it before you finish fueling, which you can't do on the 777. Anyway, this should work out now. Maybe the final cruise level. That's probably it. Yeah, good spot. It should know we're going to step, but anyway, maybe it doesn't. We have to insert the winds. Wind. Receive company winds. Insert. Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now if we go back. In it. Fuel and load. 9.6. We added 5, so it would have been 4.6, which would have put us... Yeah, it's still thirsty. This trip fuel is about 5 tons too high. That hasn't come down. Anyway. Well, I'm going to look at it once we get going. Ah, you need to put in the step climbs as well. Okay, we'll carry on with that once we're underway. Anyway, we know we have more than enough fuel. We've now got the APU bleed running, and we've got our weights. So any more things we need to do on the init? No, it's takeoff perf time. Good, from runway 18. So now we've done the load sheet. We've got the OFP, so takeoff perf. Sync from FMS, please. EDLF 18. Sync the weather, please. Pretty handy. I love it when they do things like this. I think that makes life really easy. And has he got the weights? It does indeed. 200 tons. We're pretty light. That's pretty light. I suppose the 900 is not that big. How much fuel does APU use? I don't know on the 350. I've always been surprised. The A320, as a proportion of its fuel, it uses quite a lot. If you sit on stand for an hour burning the APU and running the air conditioning like we are now, it will really drain it. Whereas the 787 and 777 APUs seem to be very efficient by comparison to the amount of fuel the aircraft carries. But that could just be a function of long haul versus short haul. Skewing my mind. Right, let's send these over. It's going to be a runway 18, 146 rotate, sorry, 148 rotate, flat 1 takeoff. All seems pretty normal. 146, 148, 153. And that's with flaps 1, packs on, anti-ice off. Yeah, all seems sensible. Accelerator, it's 1,000 feet above the airfield, it's at 360 feet. Good. Right, let's put this to arc. Got the range set correctly. And do we have a map? Why is my map not loading? I do have Navigraph. I did set it up. There is a way to do this non-Navigraph. I think you should do something silly like that. Or someone else remind me. But for now, we'll have to survive without it, which we can. Obviously we can. Is it in here? Terminal charts. EDDF. Yeah, see, we have the charts. So let's bring those up anyway, or pin those for now. So don't need the AFC actually. Let's go for... We're on Alpha 23. We're actually over there. So APC East. Frankfurt has some of the most confusing charts out there. There we go. We're here on Alpha 23, and then we're going to taxi out and along November or Lima, whichever they prefer. So let's go APC West, which will actually get us on. So November or Lima will take us all the way through to 18, and then we're going to depart on the... And what did I say we're doing? We're doing the Aneki departure. Yeah, the Lido charts, maybe Navigraph isn't linked. Yes, okay, it obviously hasn't worked, has it? So we'll do that in just a moment. Thank you for that. Right. Aneki departure, Aneki departure. From runway 18, because Lido does everything separately. There we go, Aneki. Perfect. Because obviously we're heading south, so we'll just go straight 101, 220 knots. So keeping the flaps out potentially for that start. And then down we go. Transition altitude 5,000 feet. And it doesn't seem to have any stop altitude. So I'm going to put 5,000 feet in the window for now as a starting point. Good. Right. I think we're in a pretty good place. Let's just go and make sure, if I can. Terrain data, nav data from Navigraph. Yeah, I've done that. Update nav data. Oh, I should have done that. I didn't realize I had to do that separately. Oh well. Good. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, reset credentials. Come on, get off that. There we go. Right. Approve, allow. Probably needs to reset the whole thing though if we do that. That's the only thing I can imagine. Okay. Yeah. Mike says, seeing those Frankfurt charts bring back nightmares. Yeah, so any pilot who isn't based at Frankfurt and operates there will probably have a similar experience. It is quite something. It just has so many charts, and it's a big airport, lots of different arrivals, lots of departures, lots of taxiways. Yeah, it's a serious place. You need to keep your wits about you when you go there. Good, 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 good. Right. Okay. So we are done with that. Keplerstick is on Twitch and says, hi, I just wanted to thank you for all your YouTube videos over the years. When 2020 was released, I learned how to fly airliners in Microsoft Flight Simulators from your videos. Must be a time zone thing, but this is the first time I've seen you on Twitch. Thanks for introducing airlines to me. I fly almost all of them now. Fantastic. Glad to hear it. And the reason you haven't seen me on Twitch is I'm just rarely on it. So I'm going to bring it back into the fold a little bit more, though. We'll do a little bit more Twitch. But yeah, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Right. Okay. Anyway, there we go. Right, I think we're ready. So cockpit prep. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity, we have our 25 tons now. Seatbelt signs are on. Fuel is on. Power ref is on 1013. That is set. Checklist complete. And then we'll go to the before start checklist. Parking brake is on. Takeoff speeds and thrust are set. So we've got 146, 153, climb that blue, 152, stopping at 5,000 feet. Okay, now it's just time to get the aircraft ready to go. Ground. Close. 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 Get rid of the chocks. Get rid of the GPU. Close all the doors, please. I want to get going. And the nice thing in A350 is we don't have to pressurize because it's a Airbus, which I do like. Goodbye, cargo. Close all. And once that's done, we'll arm the slides. Simon says, have you planned contact with the TOLIS 320 CO? Is that in X-Plane 12, do you mean? I have not looked at it recently, I must confess. Need to get rid of those stairs as well. Oh, that's gone wrong. Come on, close everything, please. Ground handling is becoming the always the hardest part of simulating flights for me. Simon says, great to see you live on the 350. Yeah, thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to get going soon, I promise everyone. Come on. Come on, iniBuilds. I just want to go flying. There we go. Okay, that's promising. That's less promising. Close that door. Please go away, stairs. I did have the jetty attached before the stream, and now I'm paying the price for not working that out properly, because that would have been much easier, because I could have just got rid of it. Dr. Stilton, thanks so much for your $4.99 super chat. Really appreciate it. Dr. Stilton says, great to see you live for a classic Sunday stream. Indeed. When the time comes, have any modelled the cabin wine from flap extension retraction? Yes. And I'll show you that. Good point. Yep. I would like to do that. I have not tried toolbar pushback. No. I'm tempted by GSX. These stairs are actually from here. One of these buttons did it, but you see that it actually does not seem to work. Come on, go away, go away. And I press it again. Stairs toggle. That door closes and the stairs just don't go anywhere. Might leave in a minute. What if I call the tug? Get the tug connected. There we go. That did work. Okay, thankfully. Yeah, so I'm thinking of trying out GSX, which I haven't used on the channel before. But yeah, for now, today I thought I won't mess around because it's, as you can see, bad enough watching me do this. 122.8. There's no CTAF. I did check for once. So let's transfer that over. How do I do that? Let's see. There we go. 1228. See if we can hear anybody. But thank you very much, Dr. Stilton, for the support. Really appreciate it. Is the iniBuilds 350 on Phoenix level? No, no. It has a lot of cool features. Oh, they're pushing us. Okay, off we go. I didn't think it'd be that quick. Let's just stop that for a second. Right, so anyway, let's continue the checklist. So the slides, we can arm those ourselves. Again, I'm not a fan of over-involved things like this, so maybe probably a setting I can get rid of that. Those of us doing disconnect memo, that will appear when they arrive. Again, should be sensed automatically. Before start, checklist complete. And the next one is going to be the after start. Good. Okay, so we are now ready to go. I will announce to Frankfurt grounds. By the way, yeah, this is a proper scenery for once, so please enjoy it. There you go, scenery. Don't say I don't treat you all. Scenery, passengers. Haven't noticed any of them while we've been faffing around. Gates look pretty good though. They do look pretty like Frankfurt. I like that. Yeah, I can't see any of that from here. Oh yeah, I suppose you can. You really zoom in. It's a nice scenery, don't get me wrong. And I think more to the point, we would really notice if we didn't have it, because it would just look terrible if it was the default one. Yeah, so it is a good scenery. Right, so am I broadcasting correctly? Let's get this right. Come on. Perfect. No, I'm not. What's going on? My radios are not on. What's going on? Why am I not able to transmit? I need to do this. There we go. That's why I haven't heard anybody so far. And VHF2, yeah, we'll have that on as that's guard. Okay. No one around. I don't think there's a CTAF frequency. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Frankfurt ground, Lufthansa 117 from Alpha 23, pushing back to face south. Good. Let's go before anyone can object. Traffic vacating. Okay, tug's coming back. We are on VATSIM indeed, so these are other pilots as well. So Tolis released a 320 CEO for X-Plane 12 in October 25. Yeah, so I missed that. Yeah, I should try that out. That would be a good 320 to use, no doubt. Okay, so beacon was on, throttles were idle, windows were closed. We've done our checklist. Let's get the engines going. Start with... you can do single engine taxi on the 350. I believe it's a relatively new thing. I don't actually know how to do it. I wonder which engine they use. Oh, I can hear some PAs going out.
Traffic, Lufthansa 6 Echo Echo is reaching data of 680, turning final wireless to Frankfurt.
They say the right engine, so let's do it. Let's see if this works.
If the cabin pressure changes, oxygen masks will automatically...
Yeah, there's a PA.
Pull the mask towards you.
A very British sounding PA for a Lufthansa 350, but there we go. The tug's done an automatic pushback in the right direction as well, which I'm pretty happy about. Awesome. Parking brake set. Bit of wobble on the engine. I fly mostly the 777 now, but that's not to say I won't be flying the 787 again. Oh, you can change the PA language. See, they have a lot of... Someone asked earlier, is this Phoenix level? It has a lot of options. You can really customize this to be the 350 you want. I am impressed with that.
6 Echo, we are currently established 2-5 left, and if there's no traffic, we will swing over 2-5 center shortly.
Now, is it me? What have I done wrong? Yeah. That is the engine running. Not impressed with that effect. Now it looks better from there. Strange. It's very strange. That looks like it's just windmilling to me. If I give it a rev.
Behind the Lufthansa 6 Echo Echo is swinging now visually to the runway 25 center.
Yeah, that's running. I'm surprised at that. We'll see how it looks in flight. I think the flight factor in X-Plane 12 has the best effects for the engine. I'm going to start the other engine as well because I'll just mess it up otherwise. You can see that. So let's do that. Mike says, I'm new to flight simming. What are your thoughts on having X-Plane 12 in addition to Microsoft Flight Simulator? I would say it depends what you want to fly. I wouldn't fly, if you're flying small aircraft, general aviation, then I'd get Microsoft Flight Simulator for the scenery. If you want to fly serious airliners, then there's some amazing options in X-Plane as well. Yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky. It's a tricky call. There you go. There's the oil venting. The thing from modern engines, this sort of oil vents. 787s do it as well. 350 does it quite a lot. So it's a Rolls Royce thing as well. Right, anyway. Hopefully that should go to available soon. The reason this number's so low is it's a percentage of thrust. It's not a N1, so it just shows that they're just sitting at sort of idle. Where is the N1? There it is, 20%, which is more normal. Anyway, that's available. We'll go to that. that. Don't need the anti-ice. Are they not automatic on this? That's outrageous. No need for the APU. Moving down, I'm going to arm the ground spoilers, reset the rudder trim, and we're going to set the flaps. Let's go to a window view and make sure we can hear it. I hope you can hear the sim.
Speed reducing to.
And there's that whine.
Lufthansa 2 above will be on the visual 25 center.
Which is obviously the hydraulic pumps running. Oh, graphics do look good, don't they? So we got our 1+F flaps. Good. And then the trim, did it run correctly? It did. The trim automatically set into the center, so that's good news. Right. Oh yes, we should have put the transponder on. That's hidden away in the surveillance tab. And we'll go transponder auto. Put the radar to auto as well. And I'm going to put the TCAS TRA now, so I don't have to do it while we're taxiing out. It doesn't cause any damage to do that. It's just not the normal configuration. Right, after start checklist. We've got anti-ice is off. Flight controls. Oh, we check it before taxi, even though it's an Airbus. That's outrageous. I thought that was a Boeing thing. We'll run our flight controls. No inboard ailerons, just 2 outboard ailerons on the 350. And I quite like that. See how the spoilers, I love this when I fly on the 350. See how they just slightly go down to sort of keep one continuous surface. It's almost like getting a slot into the flaps, like a single slotted Fowler flap. Yeah, really cool effects. Sun's going down as well. We do just get going here. Let's run the rudder. And elevator. APU door you can see open there at the back. Yeah, the other ones do move slowly. I would say whether they're this slow or not in real life, I don't know. The Airbus does dampen the flight controls slightly, even in direct mode. It is not quite as quick, whereas a 777 Boeing, they're very direct. I will say that. But you're right, they do seem to be extra slow. That would be up to a 350 pilot to know, I'm afraid. Anyway, flight controls are done. Ground clearance to sea. So after start, checklist complete. Next one will be the lineup. Oh, I know it's the taxi. What we're going to do in this. Got the flaps, 1+F, got the radar, I'll turn that on, and next is those. Okay, right. Right side's clear, left side's clear. Ooh, my computer's struggling with this scenery in this airplane. And we're going to taxi out via, let's go to our charts. We are here, let's go out via November. Frankfurt, Lufthansa 117, taxiing from November 5 to November for runway 18. Okay, taxi light on. Sadly, no camera. Brakes released. Let's go. What a machine.
Frankfurt traffic, Condor 6 Alpha Mike, fully established ILS 25 left.
Oof, it's lagging.
Speeding down to 170 until 5 miles final.
Yeah, we'll give some more. Any questions, definitely we'll answer them up in the cruise. Mike says, breaking news, 250 thinks it's a Boeing with these before taxi. I know, I'm quite surprised. I imagined Airbus would have kept it as a taxi out item, especially if they're doing single engine taxis. Okay, we're taking November, which is this taxiway here, and we go along here, and there's no one else coming along it. Keeps us clear of this inbound traffic. I should have really listened a bit better to the frequency, but hey ho, off we go. Everyone's making it work. We're in the heavy aircraft, so we've taken priority. Taxi cam you could set up like it's in Chase Plane. Yeah, that's quite a good idea. Ooh, frame rates are suffering here. Oh no, where are they going? Don't be coming down here. Bet they are. I did announce it. Didn't listen to what everyone else was doing, but I did announce that I wanted to do this. Oh, they're going straight over. Perfect. This is a busy airport without a controller. Can't believe it. Cars driving straight in front of you. Lovely. It does happen in some parts of the world. I wouldn't expect to see it in Frankfurt. There we go. Airplane looking great. Such a big nose gear on the 350 as well, and it's so far forwards, which does seem to be a trend. The 777s have it very far forward as well. I don't know why. Right, we've done our flight controls, we've done that. We're waiting for the cabin. I can do auto brakes to RTO by pressing that. Cabin's now ready, and we can take all config tests there. Oops, try that again. There we go. That is the taxi checklist complete. I'm sure there's a better way to get to the taxi checklist. Next is line up. So cabin to be secured, signalled. That's fine. Take it runway. We check. And packs 1 and 2. We're leaving them on. So in fact, I'm just going to do all 3 now. Cabin is ready. We know we're going from runway 18. Packs 1 and 2 are set. Checks complete. And that must next leave. Oh, the approach. That's it. End of checklist. This is an Airbus after all. How fast are we going? 23 knots. About as fast as we take a long haul jet. Let's go to our next ground shots. Right, so in November, doing a little bit of left-righty up here. Ooh, there we go. But the trick here is don't end up off November and end up here somewhere. We want to get to 1/8 full length in section November. What a livery. What a great choice for livery. This is Vatsim as the ATC sound. I'm meaning to try out Say Intentions. I've not used Say Intentions before, and I see it's had a lot of new features added, so I think that could be quite cool. Auto FPS is recommended? Yeah, okay. I should try that out. I should. Capustic says, is it okay if I fly in formation with you? I won't fly through you and you won't see me unless you're external. I'm afraid that we're on VATSIM, so that won't be possible. If we're ever in the flight sim servers in a group flight, of course that would be fine. Okay, a bit slower, and round we go. 12 knots. You can go a little bit faster if everyone's sat down in the aircraft. Quite how the 350 handles, I don't know, but this being the smaller variant, I would imagine it's a little bit more stable on the ground than the 350-1000. Tends to be the way. It's easier to taxi a 777-200 than a 777-300, for example, because you've got the all the tyres and wheels of the big variant. Okay. It's fun seeing little Airbus things. This classic brake dial has been integrated into the screen here. We're used to seeing it as a little 3-point gauge over there. Brilliant. I've got the old style screens on here. I didn't want to feel like we were too swish in a fancy one. I thought as it's a 900, maybe it's an older one. I don't actually personally know if this registration is a new or old aircraft. Den has asked, which 777 variant do you lean more towards, 200ER or 300ER? That's tricky. I really do flip between the two. Everyone likes the 300. It's just such a big machine. It's really enjoyable. So probably the 300 if I had to choose one. 200 though, it's quite a fun. I'm going to say little. It's not little. It's absolutely huge, but it feels small compared to taxiing around a 300. Richard V says a group flight would be nice. We haven't had one of those for a while. It's true. It's probably been years since a group flight. I think it might have been since Christmas a while ago, not last Christmas. So yeah, that's definitely something I will consider. I meant to put a poll up to ask what would we like to stream next, so maybe I'll do that at that point. Right, we can't do 52 meters. I'm sure our wingspan's bigger than that. So let's stay on November here. Which 777 engine do you like more, Rolls-Royce or G90? Rolls-Royce are very powerful. They're smaller, but they are very powerful. And remember, the GE90 on the 300ER is all you can get. It's an uprated version of the GE90. But there are 777-300s that include that flew originally with the Rolls-Royce engines, and they actually fly out of Gatwick at the moment on Air Peace, which is quite something. A Rolls-Royce powered 777-300s. They obviously they don't make those anymore, but yeah, pretty cool. Okay, holding point for 1/8. Let's have a look around. Are we the only airplane to have come out here at this point in the day? I think so. No one can be on approach to this runway because of it's just used for departures. There's someone behind us.
Number 2 for departure, runway 18.
Defensive cargo is getting ready to go there. Okay. So what you might find though is obviously you can't take off here if someone's about to fly go around from one of these central runways. I'll show you on the chart. Someone might be going around here, so you can't have them overflying you like that. But it's quite a weird setup. I'm going to put the lights on now. Do a bing bong to the cabin crew. Frankfurt traffic. Lufthansa 117 lining up, departing runway 18, departing to the south. Okay, clear on the approach. Clear on the TCAS. Weather radar is indeed on.
We cleared runway 25 center. And yeah, just my out.
Let's make sure the traffic shows. Oh, you can have traffic show ID. That's cool. Right, still clear on the runway. Bit taily / a bit across. But we're finally ready to go. So let's get going to Madrid. Average taxi speeds in the long haul, no more than 20 knots realistically in a straight line. Turns below 10. You don't take them up to 30 just because the momentum's too high to fix anything if you need to. Right, here we go. Taking a 350 to the skies. Let's start the chrono. Do a rolling one. Oh, Sim's looking great, I must say. Stabilize the engines. Welcome, Lux Supreme. Must remember 100 knots. Yeah, strong crosswind. It's trying to weathercock to the right. Needing to use left rudder. Let's see how this takeoff goes. 80 to 100, bringing that side stick to neutral. Oh, it's like the good old days. I'm not putting any into-wind aileron. I would if this is a 777, but being an Airbus, it shouldn't need it. It does look like it's doing a good job keeping the wings level. Can use a decent amount of runway. There is that sudden change of texture is correct for the 18. And rotate. Nose gear up, letting it weathercock. Up we go, positive rate, gear up, nav. And we're away. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very quiet on the ground. If you ever stand near a 350 taking off, you'd be amazed how quiet it actually is. They did a good job on those engines. Straight out over the forests, which is what you do on this departure. Yeah, it's quite fun having the right scenery. I must do this more often. Okay, levers to climb with through acceleration, thrust, derated climb, climb, auto thrust. Through the S speed, we're going to go to 220 knots. I think it's pretty clear we can do that clean. Let's just see, where would that be in here? Ooh, does it show me anywhere? Green dot is 194. Wow. Yeah, so flaps up, please. As the flaps come up, we can disarm the ground spoilers, and I'll turn off the lights that we don't need anymore. So which is going to be the taxi lights off, we leave the landing lights on. Up come the flaps. So satisfying as they all sort of blend together. There we go. Awesome. Right, split the autopilot in while I'm talking to you all. Wind up the range. And we can stop the clock because the thrust is derated. Ah, it's got the minimum en route altitude 6,400. Yeah, it's very good. They've added so many things. The 350 is a really impressive machine. The amount of automation and clever things going on in it. There's the flight timer as well, automatic. That's cool. 777-300 does do that, to be fair. Green dot is the clean speed. It's the best rated climb speed. And it's also what you use as a clean speed in an Airbus. So yeah, 194, very slow. That'll be down to the fact that we have this great big wing on this relatively short jet. So I don't know if you can hear me outside. I hope so. Yeah, so great big wing, quite a small jet. Wings designed for different variants, so yeah, it gives us that option. Oh, it's got an autosave going on. Let's hope we don't need it. Right. Cruising at 270 initially. 270, put it in, thrust, decline, climb. Let's set standard. Standard. And we'll go, there's no off takeoff checklist, but we're in standard. There we go. It should climb pretty well, and the speed will accelerate now, passing grid. Favorite approaches in the 777? I've shown a few on the channel. San Diego, Tokyo, Haneda, the LDA approach. Those are both on my channel as challenging approach videos. Those are good. I recently did a video on Mauritius. Do please check that out. That's a really fun approach, well worth trying. And in my video, I'll show you how to do it. It's just to do with being so close to the terrain. You sort of descend down 1,000 feet above the ground for the whole ILS. It's quite fascinating. Yeah, it's a pretty wing. The one thing I cannot deny about the 350 is how nice the sharklets look. Ah, now the engine looks pretty reasonable. That idle effect was not doing it for me. Something to do with my frame rate must have been really affecting it. So the service will now carry on in the cabin. Let's get to 10,000 feet, 2,300 feet per minute, yeah. Let's find our... We should be on our sit chart by now. So we're just heading here. Oh, it has put the plane on it. That's good. Baku says, why are transition levels around 5,000 feet in Europe but 18,000 in the US? I really couldn't tell you. It's just how it is. I suppose the US, being such a large country, has a lot of terrain all around it. In countries with higher terrain, they'll have a higher transition level. So it makes sense that in America, being one country with so many states and so many different geographical areas, that they would need to have quite a high transition level to account for all of that. Whereas in Europe, it changes between the country. So that's probably what happened there. It's an absolute guess, though. Total guess. You'd probably be better off asking AI and ChatGPT than me. Right. It's taking its time to accelerate, though. I thought it'd be a little more punchy than this, but it is derated. We're in a derated climb. Can I get rid of that? Just in the climb gate. How would I get rid of the derate? Thrust, auto derate. Climb. Oh, yeah. That's going to get it going. Thrust climb. Through 10,000 feet. Landing lights off. Seatbelts off. Or auto, I should say. Airplane seems to be in good shape. Let's have a look at some of these messages. We have a whole load of messages somewhere in here. Ba-ba-ba. Here we go. This is all the... Yeah, this system. I'm not... Oh, it does put... okay, I take it back. I was about to say I'm not too into this, but look at that. It sends us the weather. We've got the METAR here for Madrid. That came about half an hour ago. Brilliant. Okay. Pretty good. I like that. So 1904. It's actually nice weather there. The storms are all out of here. We can see some weather off to the left. So let's put the co-pilot onto a normal mode. There we go. Arc. And I can get rid of constraints, can't I? That's what we normally do at this point in the Airbus. Although we can actually, because we can have all selected, I could actually leave that on, couldn't I? It's a 320 thing where we don't do that. So we've got loads of company messages. Can I get to those? I might need to get those in here. No, that's for CPDLC. No, just leave that alone. I don't think it's the frame rate, as it's the same for me whenever I flew 350, so I'm afraid that's just what it looks like. Okay, yeah, thanks, that one guy. Yeah, that is talking about the fan blades on the ground. They look fine here, but they looked like they were barely moving. I thought the engine hadn't started. I thought it was windmilling on the ground. But there we go, does it better. Then says, can you show your current graphic settings? I can tell you, I'm running at 1440p, everything set to Ultra, whatever the maximum default setting is, and that's it. I leave it like that. Jamie says, apparently the 350 doesn't fly very well compared to the 320 because of the softness the aircraft puts on controls, making it feel like a cruise ship. Well, this is what when I got to fly this iniBuilds 350 before it was released as a bit of a preview for the videos, and when it came out, people were not happy about the way it landed. But like I was saying earlier, I like it. The 350, when you see it on approach and you see it land, and if you watch videos of it, you'll see a very similar theme where it has a low approach speed for its size and weight. And Airbus did this with the 320 Neos, where they lowered the approach speeds compared to the 320 CO, even though the wing didn't change, and they said it was because of improved low-speed handling. But the result is things like a flare are just more sluggish. You've got less airflow over the controls, the nose is higher up, all of these things. And the 350 comes up with a very high nose as well. When you land in a 777 or a 787, they come with a very low nose attitude, 1.5 degrees sometimes, and when you flare, the whole airplane responds immediately. But the 350 doesn't look like it does that. That's just my opinion as an outsider. So I was quite satisfied to fly this aircraft in the sim and see that the landing was tricky, because I think it looks quite tricky myself. Crash Ed, I did. I saw your notification in Discord. Have you seen the Vector 787-9 that's in development? Looks really good so far. Yes. So this is a new developer. I don't think they haven't released anything else, although apparently there's some experience in the team from different sims. But yeah, the 787-9, which we've not seen. We've seen the 787-10. We've seen modifications for that, the default one from a Sobo. But we've not seen a 787-9 from the ground up from a third-party developer. In fact, we've not seen a full fidelity 787 full stop in a long time, if ever, you could argue. So I am very excited to see it. Yeah, absolutely. It looks, it does look interesting. It looks very nice. The graphics look great. So it's going to be something I really hope to get my hands on. Yeah, it'll be absolutely fascinating to get to see a proper 787 in the sim. And they did say in their last development update by the end of the year. Not long to go, 6 months to go. Which is good, considering they announced it, you know, so recently. It would be nice to see it. So I'm hoping that lives up to it, yeah. Feeling says, teach us how to configure an Xbox controller for times not wanting to pull out the full setup. The Xbox joystick feels a bit twitchy for the Airbus planes and a bit manageable for the Boeing. I must say, in terms of twitchiness, I use the Xbox controller when I do use it at completely in the standard default setting for the twitchiness. It's rare I modify it. I think actually, considering the complexity of getting all these aircrafts into a simulator and with one Xbox controller to fly them all, I think it's amazing what's possible with one Xbox controller. But I must say, I do tend to keep it pretty much default, yeah. Then says, interesting to see how the Rhodium Code A350 stacks up against the INI once that gets released. Yeah, it will be. I think this is a really great add-on for what it does. It's whether you wanted to start diving into it more. And like I say, I haven't used it yet because I wanted to see some stability from it. So that's hopefully what it's got now. I mean, it's been out for a year. It really should be stable now. And I know iniBuilds did work on it a fair bit after launch. Oh, we're in VS. Why are we in VS? Must have pressed something. Thrust, climb, climb. I'm going to find out one of my view camera buttons is assigned to VS now, aren't I? Not that one. Good. Rhodium Code A350. I must say, I haven't heard much about that. Let's have a look at that. Rhodium Code A350. It's emerging game development studio. Rhodium Code. Have they made anything else? Built from the ground up. They're making a 350. Coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's showing Microsoft Flight Simulator, so not 2024? Bold. It is bold to... They're based in California. It is bold to make an airline that's already been released by a third-party developer. So we shall see. But of course it happens all the time. There's plenty of room in the market, it seems. Yes, I'd love to see a taxi camera, yeah. Nicholas says I'd love to see it. Same as the Aerosoft TOTUS A340-600. Well, I mean, the TOTUS A340-600 is a standout add-on in terms of its functionality. It's really quite amazing. Speed up cruise. So if I go to... Where's like the progress page on this? Destination Madrid with 10 tons of fuel. So now let's step up to recommended max 410, engine out max 239. That's pretty cool. It shows you flight level 400 optimum. We are going in odds even, so 400 is correct. Right, straight up to 400 please. Typical what you reach at the end of a flight. Thrust derated climb 400. And now that should have improved our arrival fuel. Look at that. That added 4 tons. So yeah, whoever said, I'm sorry, I've forgotten which user said it, but it was not recognizing it had a step in there. That's why it didn't do that. I'm a little surprised. The Boeing will automatically assume steps unless you tell it it won't. I must have needed to do something in here. Ah, there we go. Optimum step point. I could have put in the optimum. No optimum step found. Yeah, there we go, because obviously that's too high. Okay, new cruise of 400. That's correct. Thank you. secondary, no, position, monitor. Active flight plan it is. Good, so loads of fuel now. This derate's terrible though, isn't it? They're barely moving. Come on, aeroplane. Up we go. Aditya says, it's a bit of a shame that no one wants to seem to make a proper A330 Neo. Yeah, we don't seem to have one, do we? And I haven't heard of any in the works. I can't say... it probably competes in the space too much with the iniBuilds A330, so perhaps that's where it struggles as an idea. Baku says, it's very bold. We're talking here about making an add-on that's already out, because Phoenix wouldn't make an A350 after ini. Yeah, because it must be small enough. It must be hard work to compete like that. Plane Spotting says, can you make a video on the Airbus MCDU so I can learn how to properly use it? Do you mean the A350 or the A320? I have lots of A320 MCDU videos on my channel. Which will be applicable to any. Yeah, as Richard V says. Thanks, Richard V. Dan says, would you be able to make a video about NADPs, please? It's something I find rather confusing, especially knowing what one I'm meant to be flying and the theory behind it. Ah, that's because it is. Oh, look at that. There we go. We can see the traffic with the airplane. I love that. I wish the Boeings did that. And if I press it again, I can get the idents. There we go. That's 3-4. Flight level 252. So they're way below us. Yeah, so NADP, noise abatement departure procedures, is how airliners try and keep noises at a minimum. And they'll do things like reducing the thrust at the right moment after takeoff, climbing as fast as possible initially, and then leveling off and reducing the thrust, things like that. The reason I haven't done a video on that, and maybe I should do something. It really depends on the airline, the aircraft, and the airport. So there'll be a procedure for your aircraft, or there is the standard. So 1 and 2 with the 1500 feet and 3000 acceleration, or the 3000 feet for both above the airfield. So it's quite common to, well, a lot of airlines will just standardize their procedure and do something that's close for both of those. It all depends. So yeah, it's a little hard for me to say specifically which one you should be using in which airport. If the airport tells you in the pages, you could use that, so it'd be written in the AOI. And then it would say noise abatement procedures somewhere in here. How do I get to the next page? There we go. 15 pages of AOI. That's so classic Frankfurt. Preferential runway system. They'll have preferential taxi routes written in here. It's ridiculous. There you go. Noise abatement procedures, aircraft movements, blah, 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 engine run-ups. So that's all they've got. Yeah. They're not specifying which one you should use. However, don't think that's you're out of the woods yet. We've got to go to departure procedures and check that as well. Here's all the it's ridiculous. There we go. Noise abatement procedures. RMP approach. Oh, this is still for arrivals. Departure. And sometimes it will just refer to which runway they want you on, things like that. There you go. They don't seem to mention it. Oh yes, they do, on page 15. Excellent. Talking about the APU, which runway they want you to use. So there you go. So your airline would have to have a brief telling you which one to use, or a performance, or an SOP. That's it, I'm afraid. It's typically, the default in here was 1,000 feet above the airfield for both. That is certainly a reasonable thing to do. But yeah, I wish I could be more helpful. Sorry, Dan. It's just a confusing topic because there's just so many options, and I can see why you have that question. But your airline would tell you, basically. I have tried DCS, MREAL. Yeah, I have indeed, MREALy. Yep. Ah, look at that, some weather. We might have to do some dodging. I talk about weather, by the way, in the Mauritius video. Not something we talk about much on the channel. Look at that, 98.3%, and we're only doing 1,300 feet per minute at 33,000, and we're so light, I would think we'd be going up much quicker. Something I love about the 777-300s is they just rocket up when they want to step climb, but the reason is they actually have very low altitudes. 777-300, you never take up to flight level 400, really. Yeah, no worry, Dan. No worry. Yeah, it's not just you. Baku says, it would be natural for INI to make a 330neo one day. Aside the 320 CEO, that's the only Airbus they haven't done. They're working on A380. Yes, indeed, they are working on A380. I'm excited to see that as well. I really enjoyed their TriStar. We just had such bad luck with it in my last stream. That's some serious weather there, that red. So green, we would avoid. I don't trust the weather radar in any of the Microsoft Flight Simulators to be sort of representative. But we shall see. We might be able to get a clear view. But there were storms around this area, and green is something we would definitely avoid. Yeah. If it was up at 35,000 feet, it would suggest that there is a big cell beneath you. However, it's hard for me to judge this with this radar, knowing how accurate it is or isn't. Because what I would do is I would interrogate it. So I would move the radar pitch up and down, and I would look below. And if I see lots of red below, then I know that's a serious cell. And just because it's only green up here, it could be growing from beneath, in which case it would be very, very rough inside. These red ones, I would not go anywhere near, of course. But that could be terrain as you head over to Switzerland. Yeah. Not looking like we'll get much of a view. Yeah, the slow climb is because we're derated in, isn't the thrust decline? Yeah. I wonder if there's much difference at this point. No, I can't even change it. Don't know why. Could earlier. Maybe because it's in cruise mode. Yeah, not sure. Weird. Weird, it did work earlier. And Brady says, fly-by-wire A380 is amazing. It is indeed, yeah. One of my most popular videos I've ever made was on that. Sam from Sweden says, what do you recommend to do before starting ATPL studies? ATPLs are your pilot's license exams for a professional airline pilot. Sam says, starting this August and feel like I'm wasting my time by not doing anything. I mean, yeah. You could get the textbooks and start reading through them early. Depends what sort of school you're going to. Some schools send it to you early, but I assume they haven't. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything I would say, if you're just talking specifically just about those exams, I think just immersing yourself in aviation is the best thing you can do. If you're doing any general aviation flying, enjoying that, paying attention to things, yeah, I don't know, unless you have your textbooks early and you can just start reading them. But if you have instructors, hopefully your school has instructors for you, and they should guide you where you need to be aiming with your study. Otherwise, you could spend a lot of time. There's a lot of information to take in. It's quite important to have instructors who can guide you through it, you know, because there's just so much. Adi says, would love to see some ETOPS oceanic flights if you have the time. Yeah, I did a long haul flight, and I didn't do it oceanic because it was the first long haul stream I've done since becoming a long haul pilot, and I didn't do it because the last time we flew oceanic on a long haul stream, I wasn't on long haul at the time in the real world, but I found it was obviously there's not a lot to see out the windows, so I thought it would be nice to engine's twitching a bit, to have some stuff to look at below we flew over Africa. It was really cool. But yeah, we could definitely do it because there's plenty to talk about oceanic flying, and that is after all what these airliners are built for. That one guy says, how did the takeoff feel? For me, it feels a bit strange, and it just kind of floats away from the ground instead of lifting off the ground. I don't know how to say it. Other planes don't feel like that for me. Yeah, I mean, that rotation there felt fine to me. What I liked was it kept the wings level. The Boeing, you'd need to input some into-wind data. On the Airbus, you don't tend to, although you might want a tiny bit, but I didn't need any there. But what I did notice was I needed the rudder. The aircraft was trying to weathercock, so as I accelerated down the runway, the nose was trying to come to the right because the wind was coming from the right, so it's trying to point into wind. That felt very natural. It was very easy to control. It's my one criticism of the flight factor of 777 at the moment is the way it's kind of quite tricky on the rudders. So they got the rudder nice. It didn't feel too overly twitchy like a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator can. The rotation, yeah, felt fine to me. What might be happening is if you're rotating a little bit slow or not bang on rotate, you might find that because it's accelerating still, it just tries to lift off the runway on its own. And, you know, again, with this big wing, I wouldn't be surprised if the real 350 is a little bit like that, but for sure I don't know. So I have no issues with that rotation today. I know what you mean, but it felt okay to me. We'll see again on the landing. Beauty, what a beautiful machine. Sam says, I was only recently accepted. I haven't had the time to ask yet. We're referring here to Sam's ATPL studies. That's great. Exciting times. And yeah, well, it would be up to your school. I would ask them. Maybe they'll have an idea if there's anything they think that would be worth doing. Yeah, that'd be the way forwards there. See you, Peter. Sorry when your message came through. There you go. Aviator did also experience that issue, but has tweaked the joystick settings. Yeah, okay, there you go. Right, we're almost there. Wheezing our way up to 40,000 feet. Cloudy day. Oh, got a contrail. Someone's beneath us. It can be quite draining flying around in the IMC the whole way. So I'm glad we got out of it. Not much for views though. On days like this, the cabin crew will come in and they'll just go, "Oh, the views are pretty horrible." They always seem to expect a nice panorama, and they do notice when it looks like this, and it's just sort of a whiteout outside. Hot EGTs, look at that. I suppose we've been running them quite hard for quite a while now. Yes, if you are watching, do please leave a like. The whole channel relies on that sort of thing, so I really would appreciate it if you're enjoying the stream. Do please leave a like. You can subscribe to the channel. I do lots of tutorials, hardware unboxings have become a bit more of a thing on the channel recently. So yeah, you can subscribe if you'd like to see those. And I have recorded the next episode of the podcast. The podcast is returning, so I need to edit that out and put it out. So yeah, that will all come onto YouTube or obviously the podcast elsewhere where you normally get your podcast. See, hold on, there we go. Yes, thank you for those likes. Really appreciate it. Yeah, see a few more likes now. Yeah, YouTube is all algorithm based, so everything on the channel sort of relies for that sort of thing. Okay, we're in the cruise. Let's put the TCAS. Do we need to put TCAS to below? We can press below there. I imagine auto mode would do it. Oh, there we go. No, below does bring it up. We've got some traffic 5-1. They're well beneath us, in front of us. So that's good. That's a Lufthansa 64 Papa. They've come up with a much better call sign than me. Mine is very unoriginal. Let me see. Where are they going to be flying to? Are we following them? Refresh my app. Oh, we've made some good progress. Already passing Salzburg, yeah. We are fast. Right, they are going to Portugal. Okay, so they're going to peel off ahead of us. That's great. So we shouldn't have any trouble with them. What airplane are they flying? Down at 5,100 feet beneath us. It could be quite small. Yes, they're in an A320. So we're going to catch up with them. I'll be curious to see the difference, actually, because we can't do the same speeds as them. We are doing 846. This is a quick airplane. Something I like about 350 a lot. It is fast. I'm not running Rex Axmos. No, I just use Microsoft Flight Simulator's default weather engine. I have to say I don't have any trouble with it. I think it's perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Zephyr Wave says, I noticed your stream says real X Airbus pilot. Are you flying a different aircraft type now, or have you stopped flying altogether? I am now flying the Boeings, so I fly the Boeing 777 and the Boeing 787. That's what's changed there. That's why I write it. I don't have it in me to still write real Airbus pilot, even though I spent best part of a decade flying A320s around. But I don't know. You guys tell me. Would that be? I don't want to be disingenuous and write real Airbus pilot if I don't currently fly it. But I know obviously that there are some YouTubers who just keep that moniker forever, whatever they're currently flying. Aviator says, "Woohoo! We love the podcast." I know. I had a lot of people excited about the podcast, so yeah, I thought we'd better do it. So I'll get that edited soon. Is there any particular reason you haven't tried GSX? I tried it originally when it first came out for, I think, Flight Simulator 2020. I couldn't get it to work properly. I didn't go back to it. So I need to try again. Yeah, that's the only reason. I know it's very popular and it seems to have a lot of features. And Barney from the podcast is a big fan of it. He's recommending it to me again. So yeah, so that's going to be a reason to get it back really and try it out. And I think it would look good for the streams, just like having scenery. Richard V says, perhaps an Airbus pilot emeritus. Yeah, we can do that. Sister Lord says, for us, you are the Airbus pilot. That's very kind. Yeah. It's a tricky one. Company message. I want to get rid of that. That's bugging me now. Is it do any? I suppose it would still be contactable through here if I go AOC. Inbox. No, nothing to read. So yeah, we've read all these. It's not HC comms, it's not FCU backup. Does that work? Oh, that's pretty cool. So that's if the FCU breaks, so you can still control the autopilot. You need this sort of thing on a long-haul aircraft because you could be 3 hours away from landing, or more importantly, you don't want to have to divert the airplane just because one panel failed. So if that panel fails, you could still get the airplane to do what you want. So what can I do? I can put in the heading, can't I? Let's go heading 235. Oh, there we go. Type it in first. There we go. Okay, that makes sense. 235. Enter. And there we go. Heading. And now it's going to fly 235. Haha, love it. So, yeah, they got this bit working. Nice to see. Anyway, let's turn it off. Manage nav, please. Nav. There we go. Aviator says GSX either works great or fails fantastically. Yeah, that's it. I couldn't get it to work, so but I'm very bad at getting software to work, as you all know. That's why I was super impressed. I've done a video recently on the Rosefire B107. It's a 737 overhead panel, but in sort of miniature. I say miniature, it's smaller, but it's a practical size for, a single-person cockpit, and it was great because of how easy it was to set up. That's my key feature for it. Den says that the pushback seems to work more reliably than the default one for sure. There we go. Yeah, I can believe it. Although I was impressed with the 350 pushback today. This is not the first add-on I've used that somehow knows where I want the pushback to go, and I don't quite know how it does that. Mr. Martini says you are at least the third YouTuber that I follow that has changed airframes from Airbus to Boeing and vice versa. Yes, it's it. Well, I mean, a lot of us started just around or just before COVID. So, of course, now that's 6 years ago, which is unbelievable. It makes sense that people have swapped a bit. Because I think V1 has gone Boeing now, is my understanding. And then there's 330 driver who was 737NG driver. And then I haven't changed my name. V1 very, very smartly had a name that didn't need changing. Mike says the new GSX update is a lot better than of old. Yes, that's what I thought. That's what Barney told me. Austin says, I know in Europe you do base training on A320 and 737. Would you do base training on 777 or 787? No. You won't do it because you won't be allowed to fly these aircraft without having previous experience on what's called a ZFW type. Sorry, a ZFT. So the idea is that you wouldn't be given a job on one of these airliners typically unless you had previously flown an aircraft of a certain weight and size. So does it have to be a jet? I need to look in the regulations, but basically if you've flown an A320 or a 737 or an Embraer 190, then you wouldn't need to do base training to fly an A350 or a 787. So your first landing in these aircraft, and this has been true, my first landing in a 787 and my first landing in a 777 were both with passengers in the aircraft. and that's just how it is, because your experience of flying jet commercial aircraft is considered good enough that they don't need you flying in circles. So what you do instead is you do your base training, the circuits and bumps, because you still need to do practice your landings in the simulator. It's considered close enough. Yeah. Mr. Martini says Dutch pilot girl is Airbus now. There you go. So everyone swapped around. V1 went 737. Black box now retired and is going 7172. Lovely. Says Zephyr Wave over on Twitch. Aviator says I'd be terrified. Yeah, it's a big moment. I was okay with it, and the 777 was so similar to the 787 that I felt like I was just landing a different variant. It didn't bother me too much. The first landing I did on the 787 was a very strange experience, because that's the first time I've landed an airplane, a real airplane, for the first time with passengers in the back, and it's a very different airplane. Despite what I just said about flying a jet aircraft, it's still a big jet aircraft. It's 3 times the weight, over 3 times the weight of a or about 787, probably about 3 times the weight of an A320. You know, it's a big machine. Oh no, maybe over 3 times. So, and it comes in a lot faster, and it's a Boeing, so I had a lot of new things to get used to when I did that. 320 to 350, I would imagine, would not be quite as intimidating. TPT Joe says, why did you swap 787 to 777? Because it gives me a, if I get the option, I'm going to take it, basically. I want to fly all these different airplanes. I think it's good, and I like seeing all the different sorts of flying out there. Right. But I do hope to fly the 787 again. I like the 787 a lot, as much as I do enjoy the triple. I find it really hard to choose between the triple and the 787. I get asked a lot, and I get asked a lot that question when I fly them, because of course the pilot I'm sitting next to probably hasn't flown both. Some will have and some won't. But it's more likely that they haven't flown both types, and I often get asked. They're always curious. Company message. Come on, how do I find that? It's driving me mad. I feel like it would have to be in here. I suppose I can probably request weather as well. Nothing's clearing that. Maybe it says, are you locked to the 300 or do you fly both? I fly both. Remember, the 777 has its own type rating that is also shared with the 787. So on one license, you could fly a 787 8, 9 and 10, and you can fly a 777 200 and 300, no trouble at all. Aviator Felix says, my dream is to fly the 777 for BA. I currently have just over 1,500 hours on VATSIM and 1,000 hours on the PMDG 777. What should I do next to help become a pilot? Well, that's time to go and get your flight training started. Have you got a preference between the 300ER and 200? I was saying earlier, I struggle to choose between them. I like them both. Probably though, if I was forced to pick one, 300. 300. What's going on here? Why can't I walk around the cabin? That's unusual. Ah, let's rip that off. Is that why it's saying company message? Where does that go? Can we get a cup of coffee? Throwing it away. No, that still hasn't worked. It's just locked in as a quick view. Oh, it's going to go take us all around the cabin. What's going on with this? Ridiculous. Oh well, that's how much we can see of the cabin. It's well modelled. It is well modelled. Remember, it's not as big as a 777 cabin. Just going to say it. Just going to say it. It's very important, these things. ATC com menu, where it has the receive messages. Oh, that's company com. You're right. Ba, 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 ba. There they are. There we go. Well done. So the load sheets were sent in 2 different ways, so that makes sense. Thank you very much. Yes, so we had some more questions. So Nicholas says, speaking of COVID, given that you fly long haul now, are there any special procedures you have to follow when flying to and from areas with ongoing disease epidemics? That will be specific. That'll be similar to COVID in that it will be generated at the time for that situation, for that destination. There'll be additional information published by the governments, the aviation authorities, or your company. Yeah, that's what happened there. So there's no generic set of rules because, of course, every disease is different, as we've discovered in COVID. So yeah, so nothing generic, but yeah, there would be extra guidance certainly. I mean, COVID was just something else, wasn't it? When I think back to how complicated that was to operate in that environment, tests and all sorts, oh goodness me, yeah. The Momobuza says, why does the 777 cruise at low altitudes but has powerful engines? The reason for that is the 777-200 does go up to high altitudes, but not all variants of the 200 have powerful engines. There are versions of the 777-200. The Rolls-Royce is probably the most powerful variant, because, like I say, that engine was later used on the 777-300, just slightly uprated, whereas the GE90 had to be changed to get onto the 300 to make it big enough, powerful enough. Anyway, there are still several variants of the engines for the 777-200. Some are weaker than others. Let's say you have a relatively powerful variant, sort of a relatively high-rated GE90 or the Rolls-Royce Trent. Then, in that case, the 777-200 does go quite high. It will go up to normal levels. Still starts slightly lower, and that's just to do with the wing. These wings on these modern aircraft, the 350 and the 78, are amazing bits of design, and it's just in the engineering and the knowledge they had when they put these things together that they've made them firstly very big. This wingspan will be similar to a 777. What is the wingspan of a 350-900? Let's check that before I say absolute nonsense. I'm imagining it's around 65 meters. Yeah, look at that. 64.75 meters. So that basically the wings are all being made to be about the maximum width they can be to fit in to the most efficient parking stands. You know, to make them work in airports, because airports have a typical taxi width restriction of about 65 meters. So there's 2 categories. There's up to 36 meters and up to 65 meters. So if you're parking your long-haul jets around the world, then having it below 65 meters makes it very useful. Once you go over that into A380, 747 territory, I think. What is the 747-8? Yeah, that's 68.4 meters for a 747-8. So these are all over. This is over 65, and the A380 is unbelievable at 80 meters. Absolutely ridiculous. It's huge. So those aircraft have to have special procedures and special taxiways and special stands. So it's very important if you're making a point-to-point airliner that you can get it to fit on those stands. So the manufacturers have figured out though that these lovely big wings are more efficient, they are faster, and they allow the aircraft to go higher into thinner air where it's more efficient. So everything's being designed around that these days. And that's part of it. The 777 was not designed to be an ultra long haul, high altitude, super efficient aircraft. It was designed to move a lot of people and a lot of bags and a lot of weight around for United Airlines at the time. They sort of spec'd it out, as it were. So as a result, the 200, because it is, when it's light, it can go up high, but it won't go as high as a 350 at the same stage of the flight. It certainly doesn't go as high as a 787 either. The 787 goes up very high very quickly. The 777-300 is even worse. The 777-300 at the start of a flight, it's not uncommon to be at flight level 320 or even 330. Really quite amazing. When I first started flying the 777-300, I was quite shocked how low we were starting the flight. And what it's down to is it has the power to go higher. It's the wing. It's the design of the wing. The 350 came out, this 900, with the 1000 coming shortly after, and this wing was designed for both. The 777 is slightly different. The wing is more appropriate for the 200 and was sort of stretched, and they added extra winglet bits onto the end to make it work for the 300. So as a result, it's a slightly smaller wing than you might imagine for a 300. whereas the A350 1000, this is probably a spot-on wing for it. So you can also, there is another feature of it, which is the way the wing bends. So it's to reduce the bending of the wing. And we're about to get really technical here. And I'm not even flying a 777, so should I even explain this like this? I'll try. This might get confusing. I might get confused trying to say this. Okay. If we look in the box, we have recommended maximum flight level. Flight level 420, the maximum. The optimum is 405. That's a typical sort of gap. So this airplane will fly safely up to flight level 420, but it wants to be, it's most efficient about 405. If we take it up that high, it's getting less efficient. It's trying too hard to stay up there. And as we lose fuel and lose weight, we'll actually be able to, these numbers will both climb. In the 777-300, this number is often much closer to this number. It might only be 1,000 feet out, or even less sometimes. And that is because the recommended max is slightly limited in the 300. And it's to do with the way the wings bend, I believe. I've been told. I don't have any evidence for it, but I have no reason not to believe it either. So it's to do with the way it's put together. They don't want it bending too much, so they limit the maximum slightly more. Whereas a 777-200, there's a larger buffer. So yeah. But anyway, it's just down to the design of the wing. More efficient wings these days. They're faster, they can go higher, they're bigger for the size of the airplane. Beautiful, beautiful machine though. I can't say it isn't. I just wish it had a bigger tail. I don't like this missing at the bottom at the back. I think it makes the whole thing look front heavy. Like you've got a big airplane up here, and then you've just got this tiny little fuselage behind the wing, and then it just all fades into nothing in a small tail. And I think on the 1000 it looks even more like that. Dr. Dawkins says, any more and you're catching up with the Cockpit Casual guys in terms of types. Yes, Cockpit Casual, fascinating YouTube channel run by a pilot for an airline that goes around. They're not really an airline. They're a business that goes around moving airplanes around where they need to be for leases and other airlines and so on. So they do really cool, interesting flying. But most interesting is that they're type rated on all sorts of types. So they will go and fly 737s one day and then 777s the next day, because they don't work under the same framework as airline pilots. So they don't have the same regulations. So they can fly any number of hours they fancy as long as they feel they can do it, and they can fly much more types of aircraft regularly because there's no passengers on board. How long is your flight? Great question. We are coming up to halfway. Coming up to halfway. Little bar on the top of your screen, hopefully showing. Flight time, total flight time was meant to be, let me have a look, what we're meant to be taking to do this. 1 hour 55. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a nice length of flight. There's the equal time point between the 2 points. Now, if you want to get really clever, you could put in all sorts. Currently, still over France. Do we have a nice en route map? We do, en route. Oh, no, not like that. Let's see where we are. Yeah, looks about halfway. Miku says, I think the 747-8 is code F, but the 400 747 and previous weren't, so I guess that might be part of why the Dash 8 was much less popular. Yes, exactly. Yeah, what was the 400's wingspan? It was 64.44 meters. There you go. That would explain it. You can't make the wings bigger, and then airlines, it's a hassle for them, right? They can't use it on half their stands. They can't use it on half their routes that they wanted. Yeah, could well be a part of it. Yeah. So there we go. We are all over land, and this sort of flying, you know, I just don't do anymore. But it's you've got so many airports around you and so on. Like, I'm used to just having no space around at all, no airports around at all. It's so funny to see it now. Traffic all over the place. They're all at different levels though, nicely below us. We're slowly catching our friend here, 3,000 feet below. The Lufthansa 64 Papa. Mail says, have you gotten the ride in the Dash 1000? Have I flown in the 1000? I think I've only flown in the 350-900. I don't... No, I have flown in the 1000. I have flown in the 1000. To me, the 350 is, yeah, it's just a very classic modern twin jet cabin. Miku says, would the 200 LR go higher than the 200 ER since it has the newer style wing for the same size of plane? It's a good question. The thing with the wing to remember is, part of it is to do with the bending, and by adding those extra raked wingtips onto the end of the 200-300 wing, it has... oh, we've been raided. There we go, 9 minutes ago. I don't know if they're still there on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I missed it. I totally missed it. In fact, the Twitch chat has not been coming through properly. Anyway, thank you for coming over, if any of you are still here. Oh, there we go. First time chat from Raider. There we go. Rick Tang, who was asking how long the flight is. So hello to you all. Thanks for coming over, and I do apologise I missed it. I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch today. Yeah, the 200 LR wing. So the wings on the 777, if they have those flattened wingtips on the end, that's what they don't want bending too much. That's why the 300 has a slightly closer limit on the thing. So I've been told. That's a slightly closer limit on the recommended maximum versus the optimum. So whether that also applies to the LR, I don't know. The 200 LR is, let me have a quick look at that. That is quite a, I think it's quite rare, isn't it? How many of those did they sell? Boeing sold 61 LR worldliner aircraft, one of the lowest selling variants of the 777, because airlines favoured the 300ER by that point. Yeah, there you go. So the 200 LR launched in 2000. So yeah. So it's getting time for the. Oh, and didn't fly till 2005. So yeah, by that point, people were getting the 300ER, I suppose. Good question though. Very good question. I'm impressed at the 777 knowledge. The 777 is a bit of an enigma to me. The 320 we mostly know. There was a 320-100, and there was obviously the famous double bogeyed 320s. But aside from that, we mostly know what's going on there. But the 777, you've got 777 200s, 200 LRs, ERs, the freighter, which is like a mix of 300 and 200, and then you've got the 777 300 ERs, 777-9s now. So many versions of it. Althor over on Twitch said, I went 320 FO, then 787 FO, and just last month upgraded to 320 Captain. The 787 is really nice to fly, but I'm an Airbus guy, and the Captain pay is nice. I bet it is. I bet it is indeed. Yeah, the 787 is nice to fly. It is, yeah. It's a nice airplane to sit in. It's a fast airplane, and the turbulence is very comfortable. And you need it to be comfortable because you might be sitting in that turbulence for a lot longer than you would on a 320. That's for sure. I really want to walk around the cockpit. This is winding me up. What have I done to my cameras to cause this? Nice lighting though. I got to say, 2024 does have a bit of an edge on lighting. See the rivets in the wing there. Bit of cinematics for you all. Mr. Martini says, what else are you going to do on a Sunday? Sit back and relax. Exactly. What else are you going to do? Exactly. And he's having his Sunday roast. Well, I assume it was a roast, Sunday dinner. The Bomber Maruza says, was watching Just Plane's Austrian 777-200ER. They were flight level 370, 94% N1. Is that normal? Yeah. Was it steady at 94% N1? And what engine do they have? The Austrian. Because it will depend on that as well. Let's have a quick look. I must one day get a more quiet keyboard. They have the G1990B. Yeah. So it's not the most powerful version of an engine on the 777-200, so to have it running that high, it doesn't surprise me. You can see here we're running at 85% N1, and we are very light, remember. Very light. And we're not going as fast as we want to. Sorry, as fast as we could. So that's what's going on there. So yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me. It's an unusual thing. When I was growing up, I sort of imagined that it was like a car, right? You don't sit on the motorway full throttle. Well, you might do, depending on your car, but it's unlikely that you need to. Whereas airliners are designed in a very different way. That they're all about efficiency. So this airplane, there's no point having engines on it that need to cruise at like half power. That would mean that the engines are just far too big. They're too powerful. They're probably burning a lot more fuel. So the engines are designed so that as you get up into cruise, they're just spinning at almost their maximum. Yeah, it's quite surprising, isn't it? If I was to take out the auto throttle, there you go. I have to leave the throttles there as a proportion of power. They're basically at maximum, and that's just it. That's just how they're designed. Yeah. VS0. There's a button I'm pressing that is commanding VS0. I need to work that one out. Let's put it back into level. We'll put the auto back in. So that's Mac. Why is... I'm a little surprised it's not... I should be able to just pull that and it should just go back into out. Okay, so you're out above the aircraft. Let's put it up. Let's see if it needs to capture it. So out cruiser's arm. There we go, out cruise. Right. Let's go here. Do this. Nothing. 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 Oh, I don't know. Let's play that another time. Pilot PD, good to see you. Pilot PD says, everyone on Twitch. Pilot PD says, well, hello. It's been a long minute since I watched your streams. How are you doing? I'm doing very well. Thanks for coming along. It's good to see you again. It has been a long time. Yeah. I'm still going. 6 years later, we're still going. Yeah. But I haven't been on Twitch for a while, so I thought I'd put it back on. Seeing as it now seems to be okay to do both, so there we go. And there's 30, yeah, been consistent sort of 30 of you over on Twitch. Thank you all for coming along. And we've got about 150 of you over on YouTube. Thank you to you as well for joining us today. It won't be long before we have to set up for our arrival. I just want to overtake our friend down here. I think we've got extra fuel. Let's do it. Speaking of max chat, it's very smooth. We haven't had any trouble with the overspeed risk, so let's get the speed up. Pilot PD says, love the A350, my favourite aircraft for commercial. Yeah, it is. It's quite something. I like it a lot as well. Would I put it above my beloved Boeings? I bet the cockpit is fantastic. I like this a lot. We'll just see how the landing goes. We'll use that as the excuse. We'll blame the aircraft for our landing. It's just got so much space. The flight deck is absolutely vast. It really is. Why can I hear something? Oh, there's the avionics bay. I didn't mean to do that. I must have clicked something wrong. Oh no. Why can't I move my person around? I really want to close this. There must be a click spot back there. There we go. Thank goodness for that. Right, now we're cooking. 8.7. Yes. Would it do 8.8? That's probably a little too far. 87 will do. Colleague is just 4 miles ahead. This is going to be easy. Easiest overtake ever. There they are. Somewhere just here. Mail Lachlan says, how are you feeling about the flight back to 777 over on X-Plane these days? So I haven't used it since I made my videos on it, but I will use it again. I was very close to streaming it today, but I thought I've never done the 350. I fancied an Airbus. It's been a while, so yeah, that's why we came to this one. Can we use brake to vacate? Let's have a look. I'd like to, but I don't think my maps are working. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's put in the arrival. So first of all, is there any that's available? Barcelona has it. Toulouse has it, but no, none at Madrid. So that makes that easy. Let's go to the weather. Oh no, I deleted all those. Whoops. Okay, let's go back to menu. I don't think it's going to have anything in here. Okay, I will find that myself. So look at the ATIS. For Madrid, they are currently showing INS Zulu 32 left, 32 right. That's absolutely fine. 32 degrees, Kev okay. So we're on the 32. So okie doke. Let's go to our flight plan. And LEMD landing on. Actually, let's get this right. So I'm expecting to arrive via Tersa. So we're doing 3-2 left right from the east. Here they are. Pin that, thank you very much. And I would probably imagine we would land on 3-2 right. Let's look at the ground chart, just get a sense of the runways. It's more than long enough for a 350. In fact, with the inset thresholds, it's actually got a very similar landing distance. Our 3-2 left is quite a good one to land on because it's so interesting with that inset threshold. Let's do 3-2 left. Let's do 3-2 left. So they'll just cross us over. As there's no air traffic, we can do what we like. So let's go to instrument approach chart. Let's do 3-2 left. Yeah, it's an interesting approach. So you have these high restrictions because of terrain beneath you, which makes this quite an interesting approach. Air traffic will try and keep you very fast because they're cramming airplanes in. Although not as compactly as America does or places like London. But still, it's a pretty reasonable speed control. You're also at a high altitude. It's 2,000 feet and it's often very warm. It's 30 plus degrees there. So that gives a very high density altitude. So the approach speeds can be quite high. Not such an issue in a 350 that comes in, as we said, it actually has quite slow speeds because of the way Airbus designed it. And then we're going to land with that big inset threshold and vacate off to the right to go up and park over on the terminal. So let's bring up a ground chart for that. Ground chart north. I love these charts. Ground chart north, configuration north. Ground chart south, configuration north. Ground chart south, configuration south. Ridiculous. So there we go. Let's have this one. Roll along here, vacate Lima 2 or Lima 4. And we'll have an overview just in case you want it. Okay. So, going back to our pin charts. For LEMD. Unpin anything from Frankfurt, because that's just confusing. Stars. Tersa, so we're doing the Tersa for Zulu. Now let's find out that my thing is way out of date, and we'll land on 3-2 left. ILS Zulu. Tersa 3 Zulu via Rugby. Temporary flight plan, insert. That goes in like that. Zeno says, I've just tried FS Realistic with Chase Plane and I've fallen in love with the sim. Yes, there you go. Chase Plane is really great. I must try FS Realistic. I've seen some good things, yeah. How's our colleague? I say colleague, they're not with us. There they are. We're going to go storming past. storming fast. Good. Right, so that is the arrival. If we go to plan, should be able to see that. Narek. Now, how do you step through this? Why can't I figure this out? Is it on here you meant to do it? No. Don't know. There's Tersa. Yep. Got restrictions. Below 200 at Tersa, above 150 at 540. And then we've got... Oh, this is something I love about the Airbus that the Boeing doesn't do correctly. I really, really mean this. This is a great feature. The Airbus is showing me the restrictions on here, just like the Boeing would. But then on here, the Airbus is showing me that it has a restriction and it's going to make it, but it shows me what altitude it actually expects to be there, which is so valuable, such valuable information. And it's got all the speed constraints. Rugby, 570, and if we scroll down, it's got the decel points all the way onto the ILS. It's all connected. I'm literally just going to fly this in DES mode and let the Airbus take the strain. That's what the 350 is for, after all. Now, I was hoping to get a VSD as well. Why can't I see the VSD? There it is. Oh, there. Yeah, there's one on here. Okay, good. Right, now we've got to do the runway. Now, I've made a whole video on this at the time. How on earth? It was much simpler than I thought. I remember at the time. It's not there. Let me just go here. If anyone can guide me as to how I'm supposed to do the runway auto brake, this is ridiculous, I know, but I haven't touched this airplane for a year and a half. Oh dear. In the meantime, I'm going to do landing perf. Sync from the FMS. Sync. Look at that, 33 degrees, 2408. So yeah, crosswind, perfect crosswind. That's fine. Dry runway. We'll land config full because of the high density altitude, and we'll go no reverse and just see how that works. Yeah, I mean, obviously, no trouble at all. Oh, that's manual brakes. What does medium do? Fine. And what does low do? No, manual and medium. So it's manual, medium, or... BTV, I suppose. Oh, if I could just move the camera around, that would really help me out. Plan distance all the way down. Okay. There it is. Thank you very much. Landing. Five is wet. Let's go dry. It's looking to be dry. Runway 32 left. Brake to vacate, and this is with a distance, as opposed to being able to just click on the chart and choose the exit. Yeah, yeah. So that's fine. So distance from the threshold. This is going to be a hard one to work out. Thanks for all the tips, everyone. I do appreciate it a lot. I feel bad when I ask you to explain things to me, but I also enjoy it. It's great. Right, let's try and work out a distance, a reasonable distance that we want to vacate in. It's 3,900 meters. There's the threshold. That's got to be what? So it's a 4-kilometer runway, 32 left. So I'd say we've got 3 kilometers to land on, which makes sense, matches the other runway. So we want to vacate, let's say, that's probably should we say 2,400 meters? Which is totally fine. No, not that. Why is it going to 3328? Oh well, that's not working then, is it? And where's the BTV switch? Why am I finding this so difficult? it's just going to do the full runway. Okay, well, we're likely to need to just do our normal work, our normal braking to vacate ourselves. It's a long way down the runway. It's not particularly critical here today. We haven't got lots of traffic behind us. I think it's just us doing this flight, actually. So, yeah, I'm not going to get too worried. Oh, there we go, brake medium. Well, brake medium will be a good starting point. And then we can change the condition of the runway with that switch, so we're good. Yeah, I want to do this. I'm just going to keep trying the same thing over and over again, which is never going to work. Anyway. Yeah, so shame my Navigraph hasn't connected. I did, like I said, I did try to connect it earlier as well, but it just doesn't seem to have worked today. Anyway, that's fine. That's going to work. We've got auto brake medium. That's armed. We can see that's armed. And worst case, we'll do it ourselves. We're vacating relatively far down the runway, but medium will easily stop us safely. Right, we've overtaken our colleague. Great news. I love not having to do a heading bug. I really, really like that. There we go. And they are down there. Ooh. Must have followed very similar routes. Or maybe they're going to branch off now. They might not follow us here. Which will be good, because we do need to descend at some point. Somehow we've gone to VS0 again. And again, putting that should put it back where we want it. Oh, no. Mac out cruise. There we go. Okay. Mac out cruise. Nav. Oh, about 1400. Good. Now I fly the 777. So, Swift. Yeah. Thanks for all your help with the auto brake there, everyone. Clouds looking nice today here. Very nice indeed. That is unusually good for Microsoft Flight. So let's get rid of this blind. Let's have a look at the actual clouds. Yeah. Unusually good, I've got to say. Especially out the front here. Yeah. Very good. Like I said, speaking of Des, do you think increasing the level of automation in the newer jets makes pilots less skilled? I was watching a pilot say even CDA can be done by the autopilot. Yeah, continuous descent. I mean, the Airbus and the Boeings, and this has been true for a while now, they plan for a version of a continuous descent. The Airbus tries harder for it. The Boeings tend to not manage quite as well. The Boeings also don't plan for truly continuous. They plan to have a little bit of thrust on, and then variations in the wind and so on mean that they can actually then take the thrust off if they need it. So they're continuous descents, but they're not idle descents, put it that way. But yeah, sure. I mean, why can't they? If you think this airplane knows the winds, it knows all the performance tables, and it's going to then just calculate it itself. Does that de-skill the pilots? It's a tricky one. Almost certainly, to an extent, yes. The pilots who don't get to practice things because the airplane's doing it for them are going to naturally lose some of that skill that hopefully is made up for by the simulator training. But also, it's not that difficult to do a continuous descent. It's not like something you need to practice all the time. It just makes sense when it's working out. You can just judge the numbers, do your 3 times tables and whatnot. Learning how the airplane behaves and its energy and how each airplane is different, though, you know, on a long haul jet you just don't get much exposure to it, so it tends to be a little less slick, as it were, with slick in sort of air quotes there, whereas an A320 pilot who does 3-4 flights a day is going to get very good at judging the energy and continuous descent capabilities of a 320, you know. So it's a bit of a different ball game in long haul aircraft. But does it de-skill you to have the airplane do all this stuff and be very efficient? Probably, but to a point where it's unsafe, no. If you need to do it, the pilots can do it. And that's just a fact. And anything that isn't as good as the autopilot will be a sort of a polished thing rather than a safety thing. You know, that's it really. Krishan says, have you flown into Orlando before? I've flown into Orlando Only as a passenger. I have flown to Newark, yes. Used to live there, excellent. Adam says, for British Airways operations, would you suggest PMDG 777-200 or 300? Your choice. Your choice. What routes do you want to fly? What do they use on those routes? If you fly... British Airways has more of the 200s, so that would be more common. But, you know, certain routes would be different, yeah. Max Lightweight says, I'm bad at times tables. Don't worry, you just need a 3 times table. The easiest one. Okay, Rolf on Twitch says, hey, a question for a long haul flight. What do you do at cruising altitude with the other pilots? I have a video on my YouTube channel where I talk about exactly that, what the long haul pilots do in the cruise. So search 320 sim pilot, what do pilots do in the cruise? That's on YouTube. And I talk about exactly that thing. I can see Althor says exactly what, yeah, 2 stay up front, monitor the weather, make position reports. The pilots go to the back and take a break or nap. They switch at certain points during the flight, depending on how long it is and how many pilots. There you go. That's it, really. 6, I do indeed use chase plane. I can prove it. But yeah, so monitoring weather, monitoring alternates, calculating ETOPS. So ETOPS is a planning thing, but what I mean by calculating ETOPS is working out where you're going to go, basically. What's the nearest airport at certain points in the flight. Like where we are now, right? Do I know the nearest airport? Well, I know I've got loads of airports because I'm over Europe, but if I was over the ocean, do I know the nearest one? And it might be nearest geographically, but does that mean it'll be the quickest to get to in an emergency? And will there be any terrain before I get there? Are there mountains beneath me? If you're flying over Greenland, there's terrain over 16,000 feet. You know, you might not want to get too close to that. Because remember, you might have to descend on one engine down to 20,000 feet. You might just be a couple of thousand feet off that, flying around on one engine in a winter storm. You know, it's all of these things. It's bringing that all together to keep a picture of what's actually going on. And it's done VS0 again. What am I doing? Why is that? That's going to get frustrating, the descent. So yeah, so you'd be surprised how much time that all takes up. And I'm putting this and it's going VS0 as well. I can't believe that's correct. Yeah, look at this. Weird. Hello to 60. Hello to you. Hayden J. Robbins, good to see you. I hope you're doing very, very well indeed. Yeah, so you'd be surprised that getting all the weathers for the alternates, working out exactly which one is actually closer and when that change is going to happen. I might put rings around it on the navigation display. 777 isn't quite as good at that as the 787. In fact, how do we do it on here? Oh, in fact, we need to do a whole load of descent stuff in here, don't we? So let's do that. Yeah, no, that's not it. How do you just put a fixed in position? Navigate? No? I really don't know. It's beaten me. This bizarre FMS has beaten me. What I do need to do though is go to performance. At least I know where that is. Descent, we don't need to do much. It's got it all coded in, the whole arrival. But we do need to put this information in. So let us go. Put in the wind. 2407. Okay. I think my control key is obviously connected to something to do with the autopilot. So we must make sure we do it slowly. 2007. 33 degrees. I must say, something I like about the Boeing a lot is you don't have to do this. I say I like it a lot. It's very good for streaming not to have to do this. Good H1017. Oh, too fast. Sorry. Autopilot. Let's put in the minimums. Three, 2 left. Is Is it a Cat D airplane? I'm sure it is. No, it's Cat C. The 350,000 is Cat D. How interesting. That's what I was telling you earlier about how slow the approach speeds are. So 195 rad outs. Sorry, 2210. It's 10 feet difference. But, I mean, ridiculous really, isn't it? There we go, 2210 it is on the Barrow. So that's how slow it is. It's the same approach speed category as a 320. I think the 380 is pretty similar. Airbus loves their low approach speeds. We do config for landing due to the conditions. So VREF 131. I mean, I thought the 777 approach speeds were slow, but that is something else. But they haven't got any storms out over here. It looks nice out the window. It's all cleared up a bit. So I'm going to go to terrain because that's going to become the biggest issue. And just to quickly, as we chat through get ourselves sort of prepped because we're beginning our descent fairly soon. Just a quick look in the chat. Flight plan page, bottom button. There we go. This is for fixes. Thank you. Let's have a look. Oh, I want to put a circle around something. Flight plan info, fix info. There it is. Well done. Thank you very much. I won't use that. Oh, let's put a 10-mile ring around it. Why not? Does this work? So oh, you can just toggle the keyboard, right? Oh no! Oh no! 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 Let's just put a 10-mile ring in, just for our own reference for energy management. It's good. Okay. Oh, there's more traffic ahead of us. 3,000. I don't know if we'll be able to overtake them in time. Right, so the arrival we're doing, let's go to the pinned charts, is this one. So from Tersa, we've got restrictions. They'll keep us clear of the terrain, down to 5,000 feet. Actually, so quite low altitudes available here, but we'll be above 10. Rugby above 8, 220 knots, speed under control. And then from Rugby, straight onto the ILS, Rugby 8,000. And I'm just going to leave it in DES mode, let it fly all of this. It's got it all planned out. And at 10 miles, I'll make sure we have at least flap 1, and we'll go to flap 2 at around 10 miles so we can get the speed back. But I think at this lightweight, it's quite amazing how much room we have on the speeds. This airplane is just such a big wing. So again, I think energy management should be quite straightforward. Having said that, I don't know how powerful the speed brake is on the 350. It's incredibly powerful on the 777. I mean, it's so good. Let's see. Oh, it's a lot of panels, but that's as far as they want to go. Oh, well, okay. I don't know. Notice how slowly it goes away. That's something. The Boeing's not like that. It's very, very responsive. Okay, interesting. Right, so yeah, so we have that. The minima is in at 2210 on both sides. Love that. We've got auto brake medium. And yeah, so threats for this is it's hot, high density altitude. We'll be coming in fast. The winds across. It's not a headwind, so it's just going to mean that as we descend, our ground speed is going to be quite high. So keeping on top of the energy. So we'll be flap 2 at that 10-mile ring or 10 miles from touchdown. The ILS does have a co-located DME, so that's good. So it'll count down to 0 at the threshold to keep things looking sensible. Great. After landing, vacating to the right, and so we'll vacate to the right. So we'll be coming off this runway down here. Up we go, Lima 4, and we're just going to park straight up here. I think we just pick a stand here, make it nice and short for ourselves. Why not? Get onto the replay. Speaking of which, let's get that software up because I nearly always have to do that at the most inconvenient moment possible. Okay, Relofe on Twitch says, can you do a flight from Paris Charles de Gaulle to FMMI? Is that Reunion? Or is that Madagascar? Yeah, Madagascar. Well, I would love to do that. Whether I can do the whole flight long haul, I don't know, but I would love to do a flight into Madagascar. That's somewhere I've never flown, and I think that would be really cool. So that's on the cards, definitely. Thanks for the suggestion. Hayden J. Robbins asks, are New York ATC as rude as they seem to be on the YouTube videos I've seen? So, I haven't had much experience of New York ATC. There'll be plenty of pilots who fly there all the time and could give you a much better overview of it. I've seen a lot of videos. Obviously, I know in America any slight thing that happens is recorded, right? So, and there seems to be a section of social media that is just built around finding these little moments and then broadcasting them everywhere. And I've seen some of the videos, and sometimes, there's clearly something's gone a bit awry. When I went to New York, I found everyone to be very professional, as you'd expect, and I think what we'll find obviously is that a lot of the time that's the case. Obviously there's probably around close to 24 hours worth of traffic going in and out of JFK, and the number of clips they get out of it to put on social media is obviously quite limited. It's not actually, you can't do that, you don't hear it in other parts of the world because it's not legal in all parts of the world to record the communications between aircraft and air traffic control, and certainly not then uploaded to YouTube. And with the bits we've seen, remember as well, it is edited, it is not all perfectly clear, not every transmission is made, you can't hear what's going on in the tower and the cockpit, so it can be, I do think some of those videos I've seen I think are a little bit interpreted, or the video is edited to make it look more dramatic than it actually would have probably been if you'd been and heard everything, because these conversations would have happened over a longer period, things like that. But to answer your question, and it's a very good question, considering like I say, all the things we've seen on YouTube, no, I've not found them to be horrible when I've been there. I've found them to be very professional. Yeah. Yeah. And Randy says, is ILS Cat 3C used in real life? It can be used, yeah, it can be. I've done it before, yeah. Adam Gray says, I'm doing my PPL. I struggle with talking to ATC. Any tips on improving confidence? Everyone does at first. When I first did my first radio calls to air traffic control, I found myself very nervous, and you'll just get used to it. The best thing you could do is study the radio telephony manual for your country. I'm not sure where you're flying, but there should be examples in there. In the UK, the CAP, I forget the CAP name, I should know that, but there's a publication from the CAA that includes a lot of information, and it has examples of how to get your basic clearance, your VFR clearance, your typical landing clearance, all of this stuff. So you can actually go through it and read it all, and then that might give you that extra bit of confidence that you know what you're saying. So that should give you some confidence in talking to them. But even after reading that, I was still obviously nervous the first few times. But that does fade as you get used to it, and you used to hear other people on their frequency as well. What is the big blue knob on the throttle? Are you talking about this? This is a track. It's like a trackball for moving the cursor around. Oh, I can't move my camera, sorry. So you can use this to scroll, and you can use, I think that's a trackball. Yes, that's a trackball. So you'd use that to move this mouse around. So obviously we're using our home computer mouse, but the pilots would use that ball there and move that mouse around. That's how they do it. I don't think they get a trackpad on this keyboard here. Oh, they do. Or they could use that, I suppose. But I think this only works on the OAS, this keyboard, I think. So that's what the trackball's for, and then this is a click. This is like a left click, this button on the side. Yeah, that's what those two things are. 787 has pretty much exactly the same thing there, and the 777 even, but the 777 one is not as well integrated. Yeah, 413, it is 413, fantastic. Thank you very much, Dan. Yeah, that's what I was talking about for radios for ATC. Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. Cruise, we need to put the cruise back in. Because it thinks, I think, yes, it's gone into descent phase. That's what's going on. Well done. There we go. Gets rid of the ball, perfect. Right, top of descent then. When is top descent? No, not showing up yet. There it is, just after start. Oh, right here. It's pretty close. So it's an Airbus, we have to do it ourselves, so that's good. This colleague in front, let's just see where they're flying to. They're climbing actually, or the 3000 feet below. They're going to Madrid. They're in an A320. No! They came from Geneva. So they are going to hold us up. Because they're clearly doing exactly the same arrival as us. But they are in the descent. They're just starting their descent, which makes sense. Like he says, what's the longest taxi you've done in terms of time? Oh, it depends. If you have I've been taxiing in airfields of Shat and all sorts, so yeah, a good hour or so. If you mean just actual taxiing and driving around, pretty hard to say. Time goes a bit different when you're taxiing. If you're constantly moving around, it usually doesn't add up much. So somewhere like Amsterdam, it's very long, but some of the big American airports, Atlanta and places, can be quite long. But, you know, sometimes you're waiting for a stand and you end up sitting out on the taxiways for hours. Right, we're through top descent. The airplane has all the restrictions in. Let's do Rugby, 8,000 feet. Trust Des. Would have done a little PA to the cabin. Oh, I love these. I wish the Boeing had these. These are good. That's so cool. I love the fingerprints on it as well. So that'd be quite handy over here right now. Oh, it doesn't work. That's a shame. I thought it'd be really cool if that blocked out the sun. So down we go. Out magenta. So it's going to do the 150 restriction for us. Looking good. Now in the descent, if I could actually modify the descent speed. So it wants 8.4 converting to 282 knots. Now it's likely, although we're faster than that 320 right now, that once we convert to 280, they're probably doing similar. So in the descent phase, we won't be much faster than them. It's only in the cruise, so we'll see how this goes. But luckily, we have very good situational awareness thanks to our advanced TCAS, which I do like a lot. Dr. Wilkinson says, talking about ATC, are there any area of the world you find trickier or more frustrating? I've heard pilots saying some areas are more. Okay. Yeah. There are parts of the world where air traffic control is handled in a very different way. And the people who fly there regularly will have absolutely no issue with it. But I'm obviously very used to the European style of air traffic control. So there are parts that it takes me personally more effort to keep on top of things in terms of what air traffic's saying, when they're going to call me, what I expect from them and what they expect from me. So yes, there are parts that I find more challenging than other parts, definitely, yeah. And there are parts that use a lot less air traffic control than other parts of the world. So there's areas of the world where we have to broadcast what we're doing. So there's large chunks of Africa where you're flying through, you'll actually broadcast where you are and what you're doing, so that other airplanes on the same airways can hear you, and you can make sure that your levels are not conflicting. Remember, we all have TCAS as well. And these days, more and more, there is an air traffic control unit watching you, but that wasn't always the case. So yeah, it's not all like Europe, definitely. And that's been an fascinating thing for me from going long haul, is how different some parts of air traffic control have been. Easiest way to work out top of descent frequency 78 is I do a video. If you go on my channel, I've got a video on how to calculate top of descent. It's 3 times your altitude. So if we were at 30,000 feet, it would be 90 miles, and then I would give myself another 10 miles to slow down. That's the latest you want to start descending. But that's not 90 miles to the airport you're going to. It's 90 miles left on your route. So whichever airplane on your will tell you. The 320 will show you at the bottom. It shows us here. Look, it's 127 miles left to go. So we're actually descending quite early, but that's because we're following this arrival. And with the hot weather, and we got a tailwind, so you could, if you have a strong tailwind, you'll need to add another 10 miles, so that goes from 90 to 100 to 110. So I would say about 110 miles from 30,000 feet today, and as you can see, 124 miles to go, so reasonable. You might need to use the speed brakes if you do that. You'll see it's gone to VS again. Please, we mustn't be in VS. I need it to be in DES mode in order to make sure that the flight level restrictions are maintained and we don't descend below them whilst on the arrival. No, it looks like no air traffic control, I'm afraid. Nope, so it's just us. We're catching up. We're now definitely 10 miles behind the Swiss in front. Sun's starting to go down. Right. That's the button. That's what's doing it. Oh. Yes. Okay. Solved. Oh, it's satisfying when you can figure something like that out. It's the little things, isn't it? It's the little things. Thank you again. If you are enjoying, do please leave a like. Makes a big, big difference to the channel. I know I say that a lot, but it's just life on social media. Right, nice view of the ground. I'm surprised it's not showing any terrain 0 and 0. That doesn't seem right, so there must be something going on with the database here because it's not recognising the ground beneath us. This is probably because Navigraph hasn't connected properly, so I'll have a play with that before we fly this again. So far so good though with the 350. Bold statement to say at this stage in the flight, but fingers crossed it sticks with us. Should be pretty much at idle. We are indeed at thrust idle. So this is the Airbus calculating not only a continuous descent but an idle descent. It's very good. You saw earlier the extend speed brake message came up because it's gone to the maximum speed it wants to use and it's struggling to keep this profile. So I can help it out a bit. Bit of speed brake. Oh, there we go. In settings, you have to download the terrain data. Right, so yeah. It must be because I updated it. I had all of this stuff installed originally, and then it needs an update, obviously. Although I must confess, I'm not 100% sure I've used this on this computer before. Because this was not... I didn't have this computer I'm streaming from when this airplane came out. Clarky says, I always miss the start of your live streams. Glad to see 350 out of the hangar. Thanks for making these videos. They're really strong. I'm really glad. Glad to hear it. And thanks for joining us today. I've been having great fun. It's great fun to chat with everyone. Thank you all for coming along for this. Right. We're very much now rapidly closing. So our friend here is not doing 300 knots, that's for sure. So let's put in a hold. Tersa. Can we do that in time? 10 miles away. We're not going to be able to slow down by Tersa. So let's try Tersa. It should have it hold. 220 right. 222 right. Right hand turns, 1 minute. Inserts. And
traffic 3375 initiating Cessna 42 approach to runway 232 left.
And there we go. And now the Airbus, this is iniBuilds behaving very well. So it's done the hold, and now it's coming back to holding speed. I'm going to use the speed brakes because this hold's obviously far too big. Let's just check. We did 1.5 minutes, which is correct because there's no distance labelled. We're between 150 and 240. Yes, we are. Yeah, okay. All good. And we're well above the MSA. And our colleague there. So one hold will easily put enough distance between us. Madrid traffic, Lufthansa 117 heavy, entering the hold at Tersa, flight level 200 and descending towards flight level 150. We'll then continue with the Tersa arrival for 32 left. Hopefully our colleague in front knows now that we're not going to be a problem. That's two 320s we managed to overtake today. Sly120 says, it's great to see you live, Captain. It's been a while. It has indeed. Thanks very much for coming along over on Twitch. Good to see you here. There we go. Entering the hold. Get rid of those speed brakes. Now these airplanes are absolutely fine holding and descending. They drain a lot of fuel holding level. A lot of fuel indeed. They just says, I departed from Alicante on VATSIM and had a full ATC all the way to the centre. You got very lucky. Very good. Yeah, it's nice when it happens. Oh, it's going to be a nice sunset arrival. Not quite sunset. It's a bit early for sunset, I thought here. Look at that. That's 5 miles. That's far too tight. Aviator says, currently starring to Gatwick, 700 kilos overweight in a 320. Old time. Yes, that is embarrassing. You can do other things, a bit of speed brake or maybe lower the gear early, but you better be really sure you're there. 700 kilos is quite a lot in a 320 to be overweight. Let's look at that engine. Yeah, if you want to see what I think is the best spinner effect and fan blade effect, it's on the Flight Factor 777 in X-Plane 12. It's absolutely stunning. I'm super impressed with X-Plane 12's graphics these days, actually. It's improved much more than I imagined it could. They've done a great job. It's just the ground scenery that's just no way near. Unless I know people have mods that make it work, which I still have not managed to make work. I did try. But yeah, X-Plane 12 is impressing me a lot. What a cool livery. It's so cool. This is not unreasonable thing to happen going into Madrid either, but I don't know. I don't necessarily need to fly the full hold here because if I do a circle round, we'll have already left enough space. So let's do an immediate exit. And now the airplane should carry on from Tersa. That's more than enough room. So it should just continue this hold now, and then off we go. Now we're below profile, you see, because it has continued its descent to 150. So what I could do... we'll leave it. I'll be curious to see how it tries to fix that, actually. We can't go to QNH yet, because we're still working on flight level restrictions. After MD 540, which is above flight level 150, so that you can see the airplane is going to level off at 150, even though I've put 8,000 feet in the window. So that's great. That's something I love about the Airbus, that it shows you this so clearly. What I'm going to do is leave it as it is, because yeah, it's going to do a nice level off. So let's get out of the hold and carry on. Not sure if these are the old or new winglets. You can actually change those in the menu, but I'm not going to fiddle with the model in the middle of the sim at this point in the flight. Adam Gray says, sorry to keep asking questions. No problem at all. That's what I'm here for. But do you have any tips for doing the solo nav? I'm flying in the UK, by the way. I was fine with solo circuit, but I'm a bit more nervous about the solo nav. I mean, speak to your instructor if you're really, really nervous. It's normal, though. There is obviously a sense of nerves about your first solo, and then you'll get used to that. And then going off nav your first time could be the next thing. So you know, it's a big deal leaving the circuit. It definitely is. But then one day, you know, if all goes well, you'll be used to that, and then it's just sort of, you just keep building on your experience and what you're comfortable with, and then one day you'll be able to fly around in places you've never been before quite comfortably. I would say, I wish I could help, but speak to your instructor. Why are you nervous? What part of it's making you nervous? And then hopefully they can reassure you or give you the guidance you need for that aspect of it. So just try and figure out what part of it's making you nervous, perhaps. Yeah. But your instructor should only be sending you when they're confident in you. So have some confidence in that as well. Petrol 4 says, hi, thank you for your Flight Factor 777 guide. You're very welcome. People seem to be quite keen on that one, which is great news. It was a little while ago. I was chatting on a stream with someone, and they said, "Oh, you should do the guides for lots more airplanes." So, and of course, being a 777 pilot does help for the 777 guides. Yeah, glad to hear it's useful. And I liked that video, actually. I did a Flight Factor full flight guide, how to fly it in the 777 from a 777 pilot, and in that video I flew the Air New Zealand All Blacks livery, which just looks awesome. Clarky's asking if we're going to use the brake to vacate. Unfortunately, I've had trouble as well because my Navigraph database has not synced over for some reason. So sadly, we're not using it either. So yeah, we've had trouble today as well. I can only apologise for that. So sorry about that noise. I've used the same app for streaming forever, and it updated today, and they've just decided. I assume you can hear that little nerd, but there we go. Dan says, "Have you seen the new Phenom 300 released by FS Reborn?" There we go. By the way, so Terster's left. So next restriction 150. It actually looks like it's going to do a little level off. See, because we've got low by descending in the hold, so it's going to have to level off before, and it shows us that, which is something I love about the Airbus. It's so clear. The Boeing wouldn't show you that level off. There'll be no way to see it's going to level off. This number here would still just show it just repeats what's on there, and yeah, the 777 doesn't have a VSD. However, the 78 does. And look at that, you can see the restrictions above and below, and you can see where you're going to fit into them. Awesome stuff. I love it. I love long-haul aircraft. They're just so cool. They've got so much going on. It is possible to enter the runway length. We did do that. Unfortunately, it for some reason just keeps coming up with 3.3. I want to put 2.5 in there, but whatever I do, it will not accept it. Just reverts back to that. So, yeah, I've had to give up for today, I'm afraid. So we're going with medium. So we'll let it level off. But yeah, it's great showing you the level offs and showing you what it's going to do. I just think it's so much clearer, and you get out magenta as well. The use of colour is very, very good. Very good. Oh, and I should broadcast. Madrid traffic, Lufthansa 117 on the Tercer arrival for 32 left, flight level 150. Oh yeah, I love that. That does happen as well. Any body of water and you get the glinting like that. If you go to somewhere like Tampa in Florida, you get it. It looks amazing with all the water around it. New Orleans as well. Really cool. Out constraints, and then hopefully as we pass that, it will continue down, and I can put in the QNH. Richard V says, I think you did have BTV armed at one point before manually selecting the brakes of the dial. Ah. Look at this. I've got the wheel page. I need to stop pressing things. That's what I need to do. Brake medium is armed. We're in DES. There we go. Right, let's set the QNH. 1018. Set. DES. Bring up the landing scales in preparation because I'll probably forget it at 10,000 feet these days. So RLS is showing, which is good. And approach 1. Is it going to just stick to 240 knots? I suppose it might as well. And we have a 220 knot limit coming up somewhere, certainly Rugby. How are we doing for fuel? 13.7 tons. Yeah, loads of fuel going up. It was just that step climb that caused it to have such a mismanaged projection earlier. Oh, Madrid channel vaccine. Thanks, Richards. 118.155. Let's get the latest status. Information Alpha. Funny that. 2 left and right. Tower won't tell me to change runway, will they? 230 at 10 for the wind. 32 degrees. QNH 1017. Now I'm just going to use the QNH from the sim because it's going to be correct. But yeah, and 1 minute miles close enough. But there we go. Right, so hopefully we'll speak to them and they won't tell us to do a different arrival. VV is velocity vector. It's the bird, as we used to call it. You can display it on the 350 even without changing over to track FPA mode. So there's track FPA mode. That's what you used to in the 320, and it puts the bird in the middle. This is the flight directors around it. Oh, this was a flight level as well. Whoops. No, 13,000. Transition level 13,000. So it would have depended on the day, but I think as an altitude is 13,000. That does seem correct. Right, out constraint star, and then should carry on down. Let's just check it does. Ah, I know what's going on. This doesn't have the correct transition level in it. Now, where that is in this system, I would love to know. Perth? Des? Hey, transition level. Let's put it in as flight level 145. So hopefully there you go. That's changed it over into altitude. By the way, it should be able to also do, because it was showing them as both flight levels, even though it only thought one of them needed to be. It should be able to show one as a flight level, one as an altitude if it needs to. It should be that clever. Yeah. Maybe the 350 can't, but I would have thought it would. Anyway, because of course that could be above, that could be a flight level, and that could be an altitude, 10,000 feet above. It's a perfectly reasonable thing, so it should be able to do both. Right, anyway, we're on QNH, coming up to 10,000 feet now. We're still well below our profile, 2,400 feet, so that's what's causing us to just drag in with this thrust on. It's just dragging along. We could shadow it out. We're doing 1,000 feet per minute thrust des. It's quite interesting watching it obey all the restrictions though. Or I could go VS. Oh, it's an angle, so let's put it back. VS, there we go. 500 feet per minute. Now we'll keep it really shallow and we'll slowly regain the profile. Yes, some 350s do have a HUD, yes. Yeah, not using it today. Petrol says, so I'm so looking forward to the moment when the new version of the 350 would appear in X-Plane. I really want to try the beautiful, fully functional 350-900. There you go, yeah. Yeah, because I think the Flight Factor made the old one. The first time I flew a 350 was back in COVID. I flew it on my first long-haul stream. We flew to the Maldives in a 350. I think it was the first long haul, or one of the early long haul aircraft that I've tried in the sim. That was an X-Plane. Right, anyway, I'm going to put the landing lights on now and seatbelt signs on. Landing lights on. All good. Seatbelts can go on. Everyone sat down. I'm hoping by flying at 500 feet a minute, there you go, we're 900 feet low, we'll slowly get all aligned here. Compared to the 787, this PFD looks old, even though in many ways it's more functional. But it's just so funny that it's just exactly the same Airbus style. Let's imagine air traffic control says right now, keep speed 250 knots. We've got traffic behind you. And that's not unreasonable into Madrid. Cabin ready? That's good. Let's get going. Let's get going. This arrival's taking forever. I want to get there before the sun goes down. And it's pretty close to going down the sun. Yeah, the wing does look great. Dougal, good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. No need to be sorry ever. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. Richard V says, I remember that 350 long haul. It was about 10 hours long. Yes, we've only done three long hauls on the channel, and that one was seriously long. We then flew from there down. We carried on down to Australia. That took a long time, a lot of oceanic flying, and then we did another one through Africa more recently, earlier this year. Ricardo, this is indeed the iniBuilds. 250, only 900 feet below level. And what we can do is I can change the descent speed. Oh, it's got the speed constraints anyway, so just leave it selected. There we go. But yeah, airfield's over there. Our colleague is probably on the ground having a cup of tea by now. It's amazing, isn't it? Oh no, there they are. 6-3. Can I drag the screen around? No, you can't do that. So we should intercept it again. So if I go, there's 10,000 feet. Belts are on, lights are on. If I go to this is where I think the Boeing does have the edge. I like the way the Boeing does, although I don't like the way it displays it. I like the way the Boeing does the VNAV path. It's very good at maintaining itself in that mode, and even if you get dragged off the track, it will still do it. It's very clever. Right, we're intercepting the profile now. Carry on down. That's only 200 feet, so that's fine. We'll let ourselves off that one, feeling a little bit low. That's the risk you see by being in VS. So I tried to shallow out to catch the profile, so I went to a shallow VS, but it nearly bit me because we actually slightly sailed through the 10,000 feet. And Dougal's over on Twitch. Excellent, excellent. Adam Gray says, how is your Thrustmaster Boeing yoke held up? I have mine 3 or 4 years and have a bit of stick drift. Has yours got stick drift? Mine does not have stick drift yet, but I don't use it very much. I have tended to just set up my Airbus controls. The reason is, I know I've said this a lot, but I tend to use the same set of controls for streaming because they're small and out of the way, whereas the yoke would be in the way, and I have to write, I have to get access to the screen, I have to use the mouse an awful lot, obviously setting up different windows and so on. And I would sit a bit too far back from the screen for my liking with the Boeing one. However, that might change soon. I'm thinking of changing my setup, so I will try it out. Dougal says, frustratingly, I'm back on chemo again, but great streams help retain some positivity and even a little sanity. Lol. Dougal, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it works. I hope you get better soon. And yeah, what a pain, what a real pain. That must be so so difficult to go through again. So thank you so much for coming along to the stream. And yeah, all the best. I hope that can be resolved and over with as soon and swiftly as possible. And you can get back to not having to do that. I mean, awful, yeah. But thank you for coming along, and I'm glad the stream is providing some level of entertainment for you. Outstar, despite this tortuous arrival, I've decided to fly for some reason. What you'd really like, we should have gone Tersa, Rugby, and then in. Anyway, that is the end of the arrival. Thank goodness. That's 8,000 feet. So now we need to continue with the ILS. So hopefully from Rugby we'd be cleared for the for the approach. I'm going to put the platform altitude at 4,000 feet in the window. I'm going to, you can see it's leveled off in out, so I need to put it into des. And again, the Boeing would just pick it up. It's very good. It's very good. It will continue the descent at the right moment without you having to do anything. But anyway, I force it into out constraint. And I'm hoping now it will pick up a descent very shortly. With this green dot, des. And the ILS, 21 miles out, 250 knots. It's definitely time to slow down, manage speed. Because now it's all against us. We do have a bit of a headwind, but we are flying around in high temperatures, 24 degrees TAT, it's plus 14 SAT. What's our true airspeed? True airspeed of 278 knots, even though we're doing 240. And we're only 5,000 feet above the ground, so I don't want to be doing it any faster than this. But it does seem to be slowing down nicely. Aeroplane's complaining. Seems to like to complain. Getting a bit gloomy. Nice, it's got that diffused evening sort of light going on. I like it. gorgeous. Actually, that's really pretty. So there's my 10-mile ring. By there, I want to get flat 2 out. So for now, we're still good on the energy. The speed is gradually reducing, although you can see we're getting high on the profile. It's not quite managing, is it? Anyway, flap limiting is all good. So when is it going to slow down? If we go to flight plan, we'll be able to see, because it's an Airbus, thank goodness. So at just before Kexme, it's going to start reducing to 208 knots, but it's not going to make the speed. See that? The amber, the restriction is 200, and it's going to be 208, so it's not making it, hence the amber asterisk. Another great feature of the Airbus that tells you that. Anyway, let's run the approach checklists. Barrow ref, we've got our 1018 on both. Minimums, 2210. Runway conditions set to dry, auto brake medium. Approach checklist complete. I hate the way it then disappears to this page. Why can't it just go to the checklist? Next checklist if I want it. Anyway, we'll have the landing one. No, it's just the same as the memo. Tray table can go away. Take up flap 1, please. Let's have a nice wing view to listen to that. I think it would just be one. It would just be the slats. Yeah. There's the light, sun breaking through. Love it. And now it's coming back to 200 knots. And what you really want to do, it will do it. It will activate the approach. There's the flap 1 and 2 though. That's pretty cool. So there's the decel. Oh, let's leave it. Let's see if the airplane can do it. We're joining the ILS now. It's identified 11 miles out. I'm going to arm the approach. So that is... Oh yeah, and it's an Airbus, so you've got to press both. Land 3, dual, AB1+2, lock star, glide slope is blue and armed. And now it's really locking on. So with 200 knots, I want flap 2 out for this point. So let's do it. Flap 2. There's that lovely whir. Jamie says, thanks for the great stream. I find the 350 too complicated with the sub-menus and screens. Yes, well, me too, but it's more Airbusy than you might imagine. It does work. And there we go. 9.5 miles, 200 knots. We're just too fast. Get down. This is the thing. If you just let the Airbus decide its own gates, it's trying to be too efficient. So this is what happens. I think we'll get the drag. Now, there's a glide slope. Go and altitude if we need it. 5,000 feet. Put 5,000 feet in the window in case we missed approach. Have got a headwind at least. I thought it'd be a tailwind. Can put a bit of speed brake out, which does show up on here, which is super cool. There we go. Let's start our recording. Oh yes, I meant to type tower in. 118155. So let's just get flap 3 out. Arm the ground spoilers. 118155. And we'll go flat full.
Lufthansa 117, Madrid.
Madrid was this Lufthansa 117, ILS 32 left.
2000. Lufthansa 117, wind 230 degrees, 10 knots, 32 left, clear to land.
Lufthansa 117, clear to land, 32 left. Now that's something Lufthansa do. They always answer with their call sign first. I don't know why. They're about the only airline that does it. I think maybe Condor does it as well. But anyway, I wanted to be able to do that today at some point. So there we go. Right, landing checklist is complete. Fully configured. This screen has gone horribly bright.
Lufthansa 117, plan vacating the runway to the left, please.
To the left? Oh no. Lufthansa 117, vacate the runway to the left. Wilco. I didn't expect that.
Runway 63, Foxtrot identified, no further.
Oh well, we'll take one of those. Here
Here
we go then.
Thank you. Ryanair 63 Foxtrot.
Oh, what a beautiful arrival. So, another thing, it's a wide runway, 60 meters wide, and you'll see the inset threshold, and it really messes up the visual picture on landing. So that's my excuse, because you've got all this runway here. Are we above 1,000? We might not be. Yes, we are, so this excuse is valid. Yeah, so you'll see how weird it looks on final approach.
No problem, I can give you progressive taxi.
It would be nice if there was some runway lights as well today. Dougal says, haven't flown in 350 in ages because we're spoiled. We've got too many choices in 2024. We are indeed. There's some great aircraft. Oh, what's going on here? Wind shifting around. Yeah, bit of wind shear there.
1,000.
Wow, just about stable. I love as well the detail of this outboard spoiler. For some reason doesn't sink down like the others, and you see this on the real aircraft too. I don't know why they came up with that system, but there it is. Oh, we got the vortices on the engine. Love that.
Return on 5, turn left, next taxiway.
Okay, and I must remember it's not a 777 or 78. I need to idle the throttles myself in the flare. So the flare is a strange one. Yeah, it's twitchy. I can't remember the details of it a year and a half ago. So let's just see how it feels. Autopilot off.
400. 300. 100 above.
You're just coming slow. You can see, look, it's just losing energy. As I pulled up a bit too much there.
200. Minimum.
Trying to keep it steady. The pappies and guys that don't align, which doesn't surprise me. Look at the nose, 2.5 degrees plus.
100. 90. 80. 70. 60. 50. 40.
375.
Flare.
Make a right turn.
Retard.
Idle.
5.
Hold.
Right turn on
Touchdown. Reverse idle. Holding the nose up. Oh, drifting a little bit. Oh, that's a bit too much reverse. Well, that felt nice. Bit of a float as usual, but there we go. It's hard to judge in the sim. Oh, and now it's complaining. Too short. Look at that. Right, manual brakes because they wanted us to go left. And I can make this exit. I don't know if there's another one further out. That really threw me off the left exit. Welcome to Madrid. We're on manual brakes. Fantastic. We will have a replay coming up. What a gorgeous machine. And
375.
see the oil venting.
Tango 28 should be in front of you now. You can take any of the available stands.
So there we go. No, that was a very nice airplane, very predictable to land actually. And it just, on final approach, it was very nose up, and it is a bit twitchy, but I just think it would be with the way the nose is up in the sky like that. Gotta be careful of that inboard engine and inboard tyre there. Gotta get the nose out and around. It's hard with these airplanes with the nose gear so far forward. It's such a long distance from the gear to the nose. I sometimes wish they put the nose a bit the gear a bit further back.
Welcome to Madrid. Taxi stand Tango 16 via Alpha to the south, gate 3.
Lufthansa 117 to stand Tango 16 Alpha to the south, gate 3. Thank you. Right. Oh, I can hear a PA going on. Love that. Right, I've turned left. What did we take? Did we take Lima 5? I don't actually have scenery here, and now we have to, yeah, descend into the misery of this gulf of Microsoft Flight Simulator's default scenery. Oh, well, it's going to be a lot further down, isn't it? Parking charts, there we go. Terminal 1 to 3, that one. Gate 3 is way down there, it's round the corner. Tango 18. It'll be straight in gate 3. Okay, we can make a good effort towards that. GPU memory capacity, are you joking? It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, the computer I've built, I couldn't even afford to build now with the prices of everything and the memory. And that's now telling me that even the one I built doesn't even have enough video memory. Ridiculous. Right, anyway, that's all good. So let's get rid of those spoilers. Flaps up. And move taxi in. Crash Ed, thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming along. Crazy sarcasm. Yeah, we did get away with a bit of a butter there. I will take that. That went better than I thought, considering the reputation the 350 has in my mind as well. So we're going to taxi in over here somewhere. Oh, let's just enjoy this livery one last time as well. What an absolutely stunning livery. But yeah, I hope you all have enjoyed it. And thank you to those of you on Twitch and YouTube watching along. And yeah, replay coming up very shortly. We'll just get ourselves parked up as I breach my taxi speed rule of doing 26 knots straight away. I do wish the camera worked. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been great to be back streaming, and I hope as well those of you on Twitch have found it. It's interesting that most people on Twitch have not been. Look how fast this is. This will look ridiculous on the outside in a long haul, yeah. it's interesting that those on Twitch haven't actually expected to see me streaming at all, so it proves that it's a different audience. So hopefully I can keep streaming on both platforms and give everyone what they're looking for. Now the scenery's trying to load in. Oh, there's gate 3. There's some. G3. This is a confusing thing about Madrid's taxiways. My frame rate has now decided to completely grind to a halt. It uses this gate system, whereas I think of a gate as a stand to park on, whereas Madrid would call it gate 3, meaning this is like an entrance into the parking area. The Bamboos, thanks very much. You're very welcome. Mark Burgess, thanks for coming along as well. And there's Tango 18. Okay. Have I got scenery installed? This is very good scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Anyway, we can't get onto our stand, so we're going to just steal this one here.
Lufthansa 576 Barajas. Muy buenas tardes. Me confirma 32 izquierda. Le veo para la 32 derecha.
Oh, I see. It's a part. It's one of those. But we can't get on it because that 330. Let's see what we can do here. See if we can get on any stand at all. Love that livery. I keep looking on flightsim.to for more Boeing liveries like that. But they're quite few and far between, especially for 2024. Not like complaining about this livery. This is so stunning. Camera will be quite useful here. I think we might get away with it. But you see that wingspan, how big it actually is. My frame rate is down into single digits here. I wonder what's going on. Right, we'll stop there. Good. Right, brakes hot. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Thank you so much. Welcome to Madrid. Thank you to VATSIM. It's been quite fun. We've had lots of other traffic and a controller for landing, which is always good. We'll disconnect from VATSIM. I'll stop the replay. Now let's go and see. My frame rate is absolutely tanked. Now this is a shame because I specifically build a computer to hopefully avoid this problem of running out of memory while streaming. And it seems to have failed at that. But that is a problem for me to solve, not for you to listen to me complain about. Let me go to the replay. Yeah, so the RAM on my computer is only half full. So my guess is it is my graphics card, which is running at 100% for some reason, which it doesn't normally have to do.
500.
It's normally nowhere near 100%, so something weird's going on. Anyway,
300.
let's see that replay. A nice outside view. Oh yeah, sun setting. And we landed with perfectly decent frame rate, so it must have just loaded in that scenery at some point. Oh, I didn't take off much drift. I should have perhaps used a bit of right rudder. That would explain there's going to be a bit of a wobble after touchdown. Yeah, well, we got away with that. No complaints from me. It's a shame about everything else, about how the graphics are looking not that great. It's lagging away. Oh dear. This is not a good showcase of 2024. Ridiculous. I really can't imagine why that isn't working. But anyway, let's put it back on final. Yeah, something weird is going on. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been brilliant fun for me, so thank you so much for flying along. There's something reasonable in here. I'll forget that. Okay. And now the camera isn't all confused. This is this is unraveling quickly. Right, it's time for dinner. So thank you all so much for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do leave a like on the way out if you have, and I would obviously hopefully see you again in another video on live stream soon. Thank you for chatting. Thank you to the moderators for looking after us. Thank you to being on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you for those just watching along. Really, really appreciate it. We'll see you all soon. I will, like I say, I'm working on the podcast, next episode of that, and we're going to get the 350. Sorry, not 350. we're going to get the another stream done in another airliner soon, hopefully. So yeah, I don't intend to keep quite such long gaps as there have been. But anyway, and more videos to come, of course. Thank you for watching. Please keep safe and well. Bye bye.